The Angry Chicken is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. The Angry Chicken is directly supported by listeners like you via patreon.com/TAC.
Everyone, get in here! Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is the Angry Chicken.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the Angry Chicken coming to you live from a different day because we casted Adapt and we chose Wednesday this week. I'm Garrett Weinzerl. I'm sitting here with Willie, Dills, Gregory, and Jocelyn Moffat. How y'all doing?
Doing well. Excited about all the cards that are coming out, but also super confused at the same time. So this has been a really interesting reveal season for me. And also, there's like cards going away. This is the most interesting of times, I think.
Yeah, it was the best of times. It was the most confusing of times. The lead up.
And you know what else confused me? I logged in last night to play some Hearthstone, and my opponent said, "Happy New Year." And I was like, what? Then I realized, because of the year of the mammoth. Okay. For a second, I was like, Blizzard.
So we have...
You missed it by about a month or two or three.
So we've got we've got regular like New Year that we celebrate here in the States and other countries in the world. We have the Lunar New Year, which is observed by many different
Jewish,
countries and
the
cultures.
Chinese.
Yeah, and now
it was one of those I didn't know about.
Yeah, we need to add one more New Year to the year because now it's a Hearthstone thing. We have a Hearthstone New Year.
Yep.
That will come probably April-ish most years.
And we are gearing up for it right now. I logged into my EU account last night and got my free gold too. So I was like, oh, look at this.
Yeah, man, a lot of cool stuff going on in Hearthstone right now, leading up to the release of Ungoro and the coming of the year of the mammoth,
including a tavern brawl. I don't know if you guys have actually played the brawl yet this week, but
I just did. As a matter of fact, it's fun. It's another co-op. So Dills, if you haven't played it, it's another co-op brawl. But this one is specifically it's the party for the year of the mammoth. And you have your hero power is replaced with decorate the party, decorate the tavern, and it's however much mana you have left, you can just spend it all on your hero power, and it will put that many points of decorations towards the counter, and you want to hit 25. And when you hit 25, it spawns the boss, the co-op boss Dills of a pinata.
Okay.
So that you and whoever you randomly got matched up against have to do your best to kill the pinata before the pinata kills you. And let me tell you, that is one pissed off pinata. It is the angriest pinata I've ever seen.
Okay.
Well, it's not the pinata that kills you. It's the party crashers. So it's that party crasher mecanic where the taunt minions and they hit your face. Yeah.
But he casts a 0 mana spell. It's like spiked party punch or something, and it reads do damage to minions, but it also hits your face. So that card's a liar. Patch note Steve got in there and wrote that card.
Damn it, Steve.
Yeah.
And now I'm guessing it's a pre-made deck.
Yes.
Okay. This is
so there's
this
lots
the
of
one...
like draw cards and healing.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Ice towels in there.
Yeah, I had a Muckla because it's all the stuff that it's all the cards that you usually don't want to play because it gives your opponent value. But since the player playing across from you is playing with you to defeat the pinata, it's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good. It's a pretty cool brawl, man. I like it.
Nice. And this has been your weekly TAC brawl episode.
Brawl episode.
Yeah.
But it rewards an Ungoro pack. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, gotta get in there.
Yep, indeed. This is the third week in a row of Brawl giving you those Brawl packs, so or the Ungoro packs. So I've been playing.
This is also going to be kind of a weird expansion as far as how many packs I expect to open, because normally I have lots and lots of gold saved up, but
Arena's really good.
Rogue Tavern Brawl, which I only played, I played it less this time, so I didn't, just dump all my gold into that. But I also tried to make Golden Ragnaros, Golden Sylvanas, and all that stuff too. So I ended up buying a bunch of packs just to get enough dust for that. And so I'm only at like 2,700 or something like that right now, which normally I'd be at, 5,000, 6,000 gold right now. So I've got my 50. I've got the free packs they're going to give me, and then I'm only going to get like 30 more. So, ugh.
Yeah, it seems low.
But we're going to get all that dust, right? We're going to get that sweet, sweet dust from those golden legendaries. So I should be able to craft some stuff at the beginning if I'm missing anything.
Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of dust coming in. So, anyways, before we move into this week's Hearthstone news, we want to thank our sponsors of this episode, Harrys.com. You should head over to specifically harrys.com/TAC. These are the creators of high quality yet very fairly priced shaving blades, which all three of us have used, even though they say, men's razors. Jocelyn, you too have felt the silky smooth shave of a Harry's razor.
I have, man. They're awesome. I actually love them because they actually last. I find a lot of like my women's razors, because like we have a lot of surface area to cover when you compare like faces to legs. Like there's a lot of leg there. So I find that like I can use the same Harry's razor multiple times, where normally like my women's razors are just like one and done.
Oh man, that's no good.
Hashtag value.
All right. So I was trying to shave my shoulders the other day and slipped and just shaved my whole face. It was crazy. Thank God for Harry's razors, because normally I hate shaving my face. But this is the worst part. This is the worst part. The part where you go from front chin to under chin, right?
That's like
I hate that. It's so bad. But with the Harry's razors, it was nice and smooth. Not a problem. And felt good. Okay. I'm going above and beyond here. Gave a Harry's razor set to my cousin. He actually barely ever shaves. He's like me. He always likes to have a beard. He sent me a text the other day, just a picture of the razor, and it just said, like, best razor ever. And apparently he had shaved his face as well. So,
well, that's good to hear, man. But hey, if you're out there and you want to try them, Harry's is so confident in the quality of their blades that you can try their most popular trial set absolutely free. All you have to do is pay a small fee for shipping. It comes with a razor handle of your choice, a 5-blade cartridge, and shaving gel, and you can sign up to harrys.com/TAC. We thank them for their support, so you can go do that if you want to try their razors, which we highly recommend. If you would like to see a beardless Dills, which I'm still not used to,
I know.
Watch The Angry Chicken on video or on twitch.tv/AMoveTV. To our podcast listeners, let me just say,
last much longer. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm kind of missing the ability to just do this.
You can still do that. You don't have to have a
beard.
Yeah,
it's not the same. It's like I don't ever do that just like to my arm, right? Like there's something about the hair there. Yeah, Garrett's like mocking me right now. He can do it.
Yes, this is the longest my beard has been in like a year, and I'm kind of liking it. I'm like, yeah, I get to get that little bit of Obi-Wan Kenobi chin scratching going on. It's wonderful. I love it. But
with your like toque, you look like full-on lumberjack right now.
I would argue nobody knows what you're talking about when you say the word toque, Jocelyn.
The Canadians know.
It's called a beanie. It's called.
I know.
A beanie.
I was about to say that's a hat, Jocelyn, but okay.
If I was in the division, apparently they're called slouchies when they have the extra crap in the back. I didn't know that was a term, but thank you, Ubisoft, for teaching me my hipster hat names. But anyways, there's a lot going on in the world of Hearthstone, so let's get into it. This week's Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
Many Hearthstone players have probably already noticed that daily rewards have begun. Daily login rewards. All you have to do is just log in. Just log in. If you're one of those people, and believe me, I understand a little bit, especially if maybe you're not into Arena, that you're just, I'm so burnt out. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I'm sick of Reno lock. I'm sick of Pirate Warrior. But sadly, if you're not logging in, you're also sick of free stuff. So make sure you log in, because daily rewards have begun today, and there's going to be a login reward every single day from now up until April 6th. They end on April 6th, yet we still do not have an official release date announcement, even though we're all pretty sure it's going to be April 6th. But
it's going to be April 6th.
It's going to be April 6th. I don't understand why there's no official announcement yet. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't
like the packs themselves say like mid-April or whatever, right?
Right, which I'm sure is a
Road
legal.
was like, no, it's still early April.
Yeah,
like,
it's a legal asterisk in case something comes up. They've got the leeway.
Yes.
Anyways, here is what we do know. We know what you are going to be getting. So today, if you log in, you get 50 gold. Tomorrow, March 30th, if you log in, you will get a Mean Streets of Gadget Sand card pack. March 31st, 100 Dust for logging in. April 1st, Whispers of the Old Gods card pack. April 2nd, Journey to Ungoro card pack. On April 3rd, we get another 50 gold upon logging in. On April 4th, another Journey to Ungoro card pack. And then finally, on April 5th, we will receive a golden Volcanosaur. And we'll be talking about the Volcanosaur in today's card talks.
Like, regardless, right? Like, you don't have to log in every day to get the golden card. If you just log in on April 5th, you'll get the golden card.
Oh, I didn't know. Is that how it works?
It's the reward for April
that
5th,
day,
I
right?
believe.
Yeah.
Because there's no, like, when you log in right now, I play, like, this is kind of like a mobile game thing, right? There's a lot of games that do this. And if it works like that, you usually see, like, a little counter, right? So
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so this is just the reward for that day, is the golden Volcanosaur. But, like I play that WWE Supercard game, and every day you log in for the month, it puts a little checkbox up. Oh, I haven't logged in today. And you get, like, as you go up, it gives you, like, better cards, but, you know, you have to keep logging in. It shows you a little checkbox.
Yeah,
we don't see anything here. So
Smite
if
does
they
the same
didn't do that and then had to be like that, that would be terrible.
Garrett has just turned in to a Volcanosaur.
Yes, I have.
7
Yeah.
mana 5/6. Adapt, then adapt.
This is a really cool card. We'll talk about it more in card talk. This is neither the time or the place to be reviewing.
Card talk has not begun yet. This is login talk. Right?
No, this is let's look at something prettier than Garrett's sick, just got done traveling face.
And the other thing to note here is if you are a person like me who rocks multiple accounts, got to log in on each one. You don't just get them for,
Everywhere.
logging in on one. You gotta do all of them.
Yep. Go do it. Go do it. So we also had the HCT Winter Championship wrap up over the weekend. And again, if you're one of those weirdos who thinks esports results are spoilers, run away now. All right, cool. Congratulations, Stan Adachi, which I love saying.
Stan. Good old Stan Udachi.
And also Forsen. Congrats, man. You had me freaking the hell out in the very beginning of the Winter Championship. As we talked about last week, I think Dills and I both chose Forsen as our champion to represent us. So thank you for many free packs.
We actually get the same amount as you get if you had voted for Stan Udachi. Because basically it was not for like wins. It was for making it through each round.
Yep.
So you got like a pack for getting out of group stage, a pack for getting out of the next stage, and a pack for getting to the finals. So I believe overall we're going to get 4 packs.
Yeah, this makes up for me picking Tice last time. That didn't work out.
Yeah, I picked Doc Pone, and he made it to the top 4, so he did very, very well. I was really proud of him.
Way to believe in your country, Jocelyn. Way to believe.
And we're going to BlizzCon, or World Championships, so I'm excited.
Yeah, not at BlizzCon, but
not
World
BlizzCon,
Championships.
but World Championships.
You know, it'll probably be at some even cooler. It'll be like World Championships from Costa Rica, and you'll be like, what? No.
I wish
the
that
Bahamas thing was very like a cool little twist to it. Even though this is what we predicted on this show, was that there wasn't going to be a large live crowd. There was not.
There were a lot of empty seats.
No.
Every time you heard like the innkeeper Frozen, like then it'd be like, yay!
Yeah,
that's
like the 2 people clapping. Yeah.
The few times they did, there was such a small crowd that I stopped being excited for seeing my friend Amy in the crowd. Like the first time, I'm like, oh, there's Amy. And then like the 7th time, I'm just like, yeah, she's still there.
Amy went?
She's still there.
Amy, do we know Amy? Yeah.
Yeah. Pink hair Amy. She runs the
Innkeeper
firesides. Yeah, Innkeeper Amy.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. She went.
That's awesome.
and had a great time.
There's a few like Dillionaires who were there too. I was getting like in my Slack channel, people were keeping me up to date, and they were like hanging out with all the Hearthstone players. And apparently, like they were partying. They were getting down. I don't know if you saw the little video where they were all having a dance off. Pavel was doing some sort of Russian dance I'm not familiar with. It was awesome. Like they were calling each other out to jump in the middle, and yeah, it was great. It looked like a lot of fun. So I like the fact that Blizzard is doing stuff like this. It's very cool.
Yeah, and I think for the fans, it would be worth making a vacation out of it, right? Because like you mentioned, they were all partying together. Like it was such a small crowd that like if you were there for the Hearthstone Championships, then you were getting like a front row seat to not only the actual event, but then also like seeing the players and getting to do all those things that usually at an event like BlizzCon, where it's so big, those things are usually locked behind like it's the Twitch party and you have to be a partner, or it's, you know, the so-and-so's party and you have to be a blah. And it's just like, but at this place, it's like everyone's going to the same, you know, pool and the same bar, and you just get to see and hang out with all the personalities. So
it was just an all-inclusive resort, so they were all kind of just stuck in the same vicinity the entire time.
So if you enjoy awkwardly accosting your favorite player socially, this would have been the best event.
Yes.
Not to mention, it wasn't just like, you know, I had assumed just the casters and players and whoever else were going to go, but like there was all sorts of personalities there that had nothing to do with the tournament itself, or at least not, you know, in front of the camera. Maybe they were doing other things, helping out. But, you know, like Crip was there and Forsen was there and a bunch of like just Hearthstone personalities that were not playing or casting. So
yeah, I hope they keep doing these. And I hope they keep moving around to different locations because, you know, had I not just, you know, bought a house, this would have been great. It's not that expensive to fly to the Bahamas from Florida. I would have absolutely went.
Asterisk.
Yeah, depends where
Florida.
you're flying from.
Yeah.
From Florida, yes.
I'm crying right now because it was so expensive to fly.
Well, although I'm flying to Florida on Friday, and that was only like $100.
Wow, you found a really
so
good
I could
deal.
just fly there
so
and then fly from there to the Bahamas. All right.
Yeah. No, Texas is usually good, but I've never found it that cheap. So wait, good on you, Dills.
That was just for one direction. So yeah.
Oh,
it's $200 the whole way. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. That makes a lot more sense.
So my Frontier flight, I looked at it and it was like it was like $50, and then it was like another 50 in taxes and fees or whatever. But I was like, really? It's $50?
Yeah. So the tournament itself, I thought, you know, was really well done, you know, despite the fact that I am very done with this meta. I think this. I mean, this is a pretty perfect way. I think
to banned them, right? So it was fine.
The what?
I know. I was saying to Garrett earlier because I was like, I'm really looking forward to Reno rotating out just because, like, got a little bit sick of the Reno on Reno mirrors, and to the point that I was actually excited when a Pirate Warrior made it through because I was like, yes, something different because we didn't see very much of it because normally it was banned. But yeah, I was just like, yep, I'm done with this.
It was a lot of the same stuff, although it was interesting because I didn't mind it in this scenario because it was kind of like it's the final hurrah, right? Like it was like these cards are all on their way out. This is the last tournament, big tournament. We're going to see these cards. So the fact that I know that means this is not bothering me right now. I'm not getting triggered by watching, you know, Reno Jackson save people because this is it. This is that. There's no more of this after this. Yeah. So
can we talk about that for a second? Because am I the only one who kind of went, hang on a second? Because the actual championship's not going to be at BlizzCon. It's supposed to be the championship, like they moved it to line up better with their like years. So shouldn't it be the championship for the year of the Mammoth? And then if that's the case, why are we getting 4 champions from Year of the Kraken? Like, shouldn't they just have like pushed it back a couple of months and then had all their championships in the
possibly
year?
Because
like,
this is not how it worked this time.
I was watching. I thought, hang on.
It's because I believe this is something we have said multiple times would be really cool if they did it, which means it's never going to happen.
Well, but I thought that was the reasoning they gave for moving it from BlizzCon is that they wanted their championship to line up better with their standard year. So then I'm like,
well, it does.
So why are
I mean, if that was, it does line up better. It's still not 100% on the money, but it still lines up better.
Yeah.
But so it might fix itself after this
Possibly.
Initial thing, right? Because they had to transition at some point. So we'll have like the championship will happen before the beginning of the next year after the Mammoth, and then it'll line up from then on out. But right now, it's a little funky because we switched from this November schedule suddenly into this other one, and so the first year I think is a little funky, but I think it will.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was just, as I was watching, I was like, well, all this stuff's going to rotate out, having all these similar thoughts, and then I was like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm. But they had to fix it at some point, right? You know?
They did. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So this is the only time this will probably happen, and that's fine.
Hopefully.
But
we'll see what happens next year.
Pirate Warrior was banned out the whole time. We didn't have to like sit there and watch that very often, although a few people left it up. and oftentimes got punished by that choice, because that deck is ridiculous. But we also saw like Forsen made to the finals with a Kuhn Malagos combo druid, right? And didn't even have Pirate Warrior in his lineup. Like there was some cool stuff going on. Stan Udachi's decks, I thought, all had interesting twists on some old favorites, right? Like he'd said that he was kind of sad that he didn't bring his own homebrewed decks, but he did bring homebrewed versions of popular decks, right? Like so his Reno Mage had like Pyroblast and all this like burn stuff in it, and Burgly Bully, and was trying to just like make a bunch of fireballs and burn people out. So he was doing some different stuff, and he was able to win matchups that normally were considered bad for his deck, right? Because he had kind of tuned it a little differently. So it was very cool. And the best player won the tournament. Gotta love that.
Yeah, he was quite dominant. He was winning his matches like 4-1 and 4-0. So he was dominant all the way right through. Yeah, all the way through till that was the other thing. I loved watching him play because he was just like, this is the play, done, end turn, not like rope.
Yeah, he's the anti-life coach. He's
Yes,
the opposite
definitely
of life
is.
coach. It was nuts. That Kazakis play for the 1 mana potion in the finals, like when he just did that, I'm like, I wasn't even like my brain, not even close. I wasn't even, you could just, he's just like Kazakis 1 mana, I could eat the 3 damage. Oh, look, I have lethal. And I'm just like, you could have given me the whole turn and I maybe would have landed on that.
Seen it.
He picked his Kazakis potion so fast, like Frodan was like, I don't know what it was.
I don't even know what he picked. Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But I want to give, so definitely shout out to him and Forsen, and there's a lot of players who played really well. You mentioned Doc Pone. I really liked his play as well. But I want to give a shout out to TJ, and that's admirable, for the one particular match they cast where they clearly decided before they went into the match that they were going to say as many incorrect sayings as possible. So I heard
friggin' hilarious.
Yeah, I heard instead of devil's advocate, he said, I'll play devil's apricot here. And it was insane. Just, it was like, we shouldn't cry anymore because the milk was spilt or something. Like they're just like saying
they were
everything's
mixing
wrong.
up words, and
it's so good.
There was something about like it's all for the beast or something like that, and instead of best, like they were just throwing in these like
beast
weird,
around the bush or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it was. Beast around the bush. Yeah.
It was amazing. So
But
shout out to them, like more stuff like that, please. I love it. And,
I
you
feel
can tell
like
maybe they were having some cocktails the night before, and they're like, it'd be funny, is if we just say a bunch of like common sayings and say them wrong every single time.
Yeah.
I love it.
And because I think TJ just got hired by Blizz, right? So this is potentially his last tournament to be casting.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, he just got hired he just got hired like last week. So
Sweet.
he may not be casting any. So maybe that had something to do with it. Like I can just
all
throw
the
this.
stuff.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah, it's
because I think he did get hired by the esports team, so it's possible.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a possibility that's the case, but it's also possible he'll keep casting because we see people like Robert keep popping up and casting from time to time. So, anyways, I'm with Dills. I went in being like, man, I'm not that excited. I'm really sick of this meta. I'm not going to be that into it, and I came out being like, man, this is the perfect ending to the year of the Kraken. I couldn't have asked for a better tournament. Had a really good time watching it, and I like the storylines. I don't know if it was just that there were good storylines in this particular tournament, or that the production is doing a better job of kind of outlining the storylines, really putting a highlight on the things of why you should be invested. But it kicking off the way it did with Forsen and those rough games that he played. I mean, you could watch him tilting, and he fought through and won that game, and then went on to make it to the finals. Like that's what I want in my esports, man. I want those human stories. Mm-hmm. So
I think it's a lot better too when they have a live event like this. Like it's a little bit harder to create that tension and drama and stuff when you're switching between so many different locations and so many different venues. And I think that the casters had a lot more time to actually like talk to the players and see their reactions between matches, and when they were hanging out over dinner and all that kind of stuff. So I think the more information the casters get about the players, the easier it is for them to create that storyline and that drama. So I think we're going to see that at any live event. There's going to be a little bit more of that, but it is definitely difficult for something like the prelims, where you've got 27 locations. Like that's a lot to kind of pull together. So
yeah. Well, in other esports news, Forsen is bowing out of the global games. If you've been keeping up, he did threaten that he would bow out if player Ponyhoff was voted in, and he did end up being voted in, and Forsen is putting his money where his mouth is. Literally.
Which I was really, really glad to see. I think that in general, Forsen is not one of my favorite players or streamers just because of the way he runs a stream. But I was really glad to see that he came out and said, okay, yeah, I'm going to drop out. Like, no matter how high profile this kind of event is, like I'm standing by what I said, which I think is great. But he also made the point, because a lot of people were like, oh, everyone should bow out. He's like, well, I can afford to bow out. Like, not everyone can afford to kind of step out of the global games and any potential money that's going to come from that. So I thought that was a really nice of him to kind of mention about his like fellow Hearthstone players. He's not saying like they agree with what's going on or anything like that, but he's like, I can afford to step away, so I'm going to make the statement for everyone. And I thought that was quite honorable.
Yeah, no, I thought it was pretty good. I will say this, like when you say the way he runs his stream, like it's basically because he just doesn't run his stream. Like that's really why it's gotten the way it is. Like he's a popular streamer who just doesn't moderate chat. So chat is like kind of, it's like they're just left to their own devices. And he's not necessarily like the ringleader of that. Like they just kind of do it, right? And like there's a few streamers who are kind of like this, like Crip is kind of like this too. And so the chat and Crips, but like Crip is not really, he has nothing really to do with it. He kind of ignores that it's going on. So like I've always enjoyed him at like live events, and as a caster he's always been pretty good. I think he's definitely represented by the chat that he kind of allows to happen. So there's a reputation because of that. But here, I mean, you see he's definitely standing up for what he believes is the right thing to do, and I think that's very cool of him. I will say, I don't personally have any real beef with Ponyhoof, but it's got to be a little bit jarring for that guy to have so many people like shouting him down and making statements like dropping out of big tournaments because he's participating. If you're not familiar with what the problems are, it's the view botting on Twitch, which apparently people have solid proof of. We don't have to like worry about what that is here. You can look it up yourself if you want to. And then some shady tournament things where apparently he was like selling spots to tournaments and then also helping his team make a finals or something like that at one point in a tournament he was running. So
yeah, he was admitting a tournament that he was also playing in, and then kind of manipulated some matches and standings to make it so his team would progress further. So I mean, there was some not so great stuff, but
you can say it. He's a super shady dude.
Yeah.
And that's about as far as it goes. So I mean, at this point, what are you gonna do? It's gone too far. There were no rules in place to stop him from getting voted in. No. So Forsen's doing what he thinks is best. He's voting with his attendance. I'm sure some viewers out there are going to vote with their viewership and not by not tuning in. Others aren't going to care, and that's on everyone. It's kind of we'll see what the fallout of this is.
And if you're Blizzard, I mean, I've heard some people say like, well, they just shouldn't invite him. If you're Blizzard, it's like it's not necessarily your place to make judgment calls on like Reddit controversy. So I don't really see any reason to fault Blizzard for putting him in there. If like you go onto Twitch and you look, he's the top guy at his time slot, right? So it doesn't like that, and that's kind of what they were shooting for. I will say this though, there was a little bit of an issue with how they did the voting that Sixo had brought up, which I do agree with, which is that in your country, like they allowed you to vote for one person only, right? And so the problem with that, and that's okay most of the time, but in this particular situation, if they'd had everybody vote for two people, it would have been kind of cool because, he brought up the situation between Life Coach and Super JJ. If you were a fan of those guys, you voted for Life Coach. And so Super JJ didn't get voted in. And he might have been voted in if you could vote for both of the guys because you were a fan of both of those guys. Or let's say you're a fan from not a non-English speaking country, and you have one vote and you vote for the streamer that streams in your language, right? So there was other streamers who stream in English but live in those countries, and you didn't vote for them, and your vote only counted if you're like from that country, right? So those people like might be actually really popular and really good players. They didn't get voted in either because you can only vote for one rather than maybe giving them giving people like a first, second, third, or just 2 votes or something like that might have been a little bit better, because it was like one guy from a team made it in most of the time and things like that. It just got a little funky. So
yeah, I know. Like,
I would like them to do it that time next time.
As far as the Canadian team goes, we had a lot of awesome players, and I am really happy the way the Canadian team kind of shook out. But I mean, I voted for Hot Form, and I would have loved to vote for Doc Pone or, Purple. Purple ended up making the team too, which is great. But like there was a lot of like splitting of votes, and where you could have like the captain of the team was pre-chosen, right? And then there was like 6 or 7 people I think you could vote for, but there were 3 spots. So I think I completely agree with Sixo's point that it would have been a lot better, because a lot of the times where there's multiple spots and there's some kind of internet voting like this, people will actually get the number of votes that go with the number of spots, which I think makes sense, having like a first, second, and third choice, and maybe like everyone's first choice is worth 3, and then your second choice is worth 2, and your third choice is worth 1 or something. But some way to kind of split the votes up, I think, would have been a little bit better, because it was a really, really difficult choice. And I completely agree with the life coach Super JJ example.
Yeah, I think those are all really good points. I'm curious to see how this shakes out. But we have a lot of cards to talk about. So
we do.
You can decide whether or not you're jazzed about Ponyhoff attending the Global Games. Before we get into this week's card talk, let's thank our sponsor, .game domains, for sponsoring this episode of The Angry Chicken. These domain names are available just about anywhere domain names are sold. You can use Uniregistry, Hover, Web.com, anywhere else you can think of. You can go directly to the source at get.game. If you haven't heard us mention them before, these are it's a relatively new domain. It was launched on May 27th of last year. Many of the best names are still available, and they are more expensive than usual by design. That's to stop people like me from going and buying the domain for the game you are developing and sitting on it and forcing you to spend a good amount of money. And all I had to do was know a game might come out named that and spend like $15. So check them out, .game domain names, over at get.game. Now, it is time for this week's card talk, which means it's time for our hastily created bumpers. Welcome to Card Talk.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my gosh, indeed. There are so many damn cards to talk about today, guys. And we're even going to skip a few like we did last week. So if for some reason you're really excited about some card that we didn't miss here, we apologize. I'm sure we'll talk about it in the future, unless it never gets played. And in that case, DIAF, you useless card, you. Let's kick things off with the Hunter quest, which has been revealed. It is called the Marsh Queen, and it is a 1-mana legendary quest, which, to reiterate, quests are spells. And it reads, play 7 1-cost minions, the reward of which is Queen Carnassa. If you are asking yourself, but Garrett, what is Queen Carnassa? Well, Queen Carnassa is a 5-mana legendary hunter beast that has 8 attack, 8 health, and a battle cry that reads, shuffle 15 raptors into your deck. And if you're asking, wait a minute, Garrett, what kind of raptors? Are we talking just a 3-2 for 2? No, it's Carnassa's Brood. A 1-mana 3-2 raptor that's also a beast that also has a battle cry that reads, draw a card. Oh my god, this quest.
Yeah, you replace your half of your deck, but at that point, most of your remaining deck, or not replace, but you shuffle in 15 1-mana 3-2s.
Yeah, refill, kind of.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this is
nuts. You just flood them from then on out. You just completely and look, they could AoE your board down, but you'll probably refill it again the next turn. So yeah, it's pretty good.
It's really cool. I like this. And we've already talked about the pros and cons, I think, of forcing archetypes. So let's send that out the window. And I just want to say I like the archetype that they are kind of enforcing here, of playing a lot of 1-cost minions.
Well, and I think the thing is, because I've seen people kind of discussing this in 2 different ways. Like, you could either take a very aggressive fill your deck with 1-drops kind of a path with this, or you could play more of like a mid-range and use the card draw and the raptors and everything else to give yourself a little bit more sustain in late game, which Hunter sometimes doesn't have. So I think that it's an example of a quest, unlike the Death Rattle quest, which is very much like Death Rattle N'Zoth path. That's the way to go. This gives you a little bit of flexibility with how you can actually build and play your deck. So that's why I think I like this quest over some of the other ones. I don't know, Dills, that's been your kind of major complaint. What do you think?
I mean, look, I think this is, I don't think you're going to see people just build only 1-drop decks with this card. I think a lot of people are thinking that's what's going to happen. But like you're right, like you could build just a mid-range hunter with a significant amount of 1-drops in it, get a good start, get a decent like mid-game going, and then at some point you get Queen Carnassa and blow the doors off the game and are able to every turn do something meaningful and be cycling into maybe better cards, right? So I think it's a fantastic card, and this is going to be what Hunter is, I think, right?
Yeah.
We also haven't mentioned the fact that Hunter got another card to go along with this. Because if you might be thinking like, well, wait a minute, okay, there's
and if you were
Alley
thinking,
Cat. There's, like how many 1-drops do I really have here?
and the answer is a new card that equates to 4 if you have 2 of, called Small Raptor, which is a 1-mana 2/1 Hunter Beast with a Death Rattle that reads, shuffle a 4/3 Raptor into your deck. And what the Death Rattle doesn't tell you is that 4/3 Raptor is a freaking 1-drop.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
A 1-mana 4/3 at some point later on. This one doesn't cycle though. This one you're just gonna draw and just have to just suck it up and just play it as a 4/3 for 1.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to everyone that has to play a 4/3 beast for 1 mana.
You're gonna be able to fit in tons of hero powers when you're playing this deck, by the way, too. So you're gonna get your damage in. It's pretty cool.
Dills.
And I think what we're going to see is a bit of like a Death Rattle-y, early gamey type of deck that you see with this, because they also got another card, which is like a mini Hooharan. So
yeah,
Hunter's getting some cool stuff, which they needed, by the way.
They did. I think, yeah, both Hunter and Paladin, at least in the last week, we've seen a lot of releases that I feel like gave the classes a lot of love. So I was really happy to see this, because I'm looking at these cards and I'm going, yes, I can play Hunter again.
Yeah. Did we talk about Tolvir Warden either? Oh my god, I just realized.
I don't
probably
think we
have
did.
to with these cards. Uh-oh. My bad, Garrett. I should have linked it earlier. I forgot that this was a thing that mattered. Let me grab
Well,
it for
because
you
I
real
think
quick.
I'm pretty sure that it came out, it was one of the releases during HCT, I think. And that was before we saw a lot of the Hunter stuff. So at first it seemed like this would be terrible. Why would I want a battle cry to draw 2 1-cost minions? Like, this is stupid. And then it's like, oh, but wait, here's the quest and all your cool 1-drops. And you're like, oh, I see your value now, Warden.
Yeah,
I
so
apologize.
I pulled it in here, and in case you're at home wondering what the hell's a Tolvir Warden, it's a 5-mana 3/5 Hunter minion. It's a rare rarity with a battle cry that reads, draw 2 1-cost minions from your deck. Yeah, this is absolutely the example, right? Like, if this was one of the first cards we ever saw, we would have been just sitting here going, well, this card's crap. Until
yeah,
is
like,
there something
you're trying to make us do what Paladins do, right? Which didn't really work. Like the whole 3-mana draw 3 1-drops never took off. So this card initially looked like, well, I'm paying more for a 3/5 than I want to. And I'm getting 2 kind of weak cards at that stage of the game, right? Like if it's turn 5, I probably don't want to just be filling my hand up with 1-drops. So
no.
But when you're trying to fulfill the Marsh Queen and summon Queen Carnassa, well, obviously you want to be filling your hand with 1-drops. And this is the card that like enables you to play that mid-range style, right? So you don't have to just be, I put 20 1-drops in my deck. Here we go. This better work, or I'm just going to lose because they're going to play better stuff than me, and I'm going to be out of cards, and I'm going to draw like 1 1-drop on turn 4, and I still won't quite be there, right? It's like, if you play this style, you can kind of, like, Queen Carnassa is like your win condition outside of the fact that you can also just win by playing strong minions on curve and shooting them in the face, right? You got like multiple ways to get there. So they're really like, they're enabling this to be an archetype, I think, which is a problem I have when they push an archetype and then it doesn't work. Like the whole Grimy Goons hand buffing thing. They pushed it and it didn't work, and then it was like, well, now Paladin sucks. Now Hunter sucks. Now Warrior sucks, except for Pirates. So like that whole thing just like didn't happen. And then you got a bunch of kind of essentially wasted cards in every class. So it's good that they're giving us the kind of the juice that we need to enable this.
Yeah, and also with quests being class specific, they're again pushing archetypes, right? But they're pushing specific archetypes per class, whereas in Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, they were pushing archetypes per three classes at a time. So if one of those things like the Grimy Goons didn't pan out, oh yay, I'm a paladin and I just got joust again. Thank you. So I'm excited about this. Also, I don't know if it's going to be good, but one of these days I'm going to play Starving Buzzard before I drop a ton of 1 mana 3/2 draw card Raptors, and so I'm going to make somebody cry. I can't
You're
wait.
just going to overdraw completely?
Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to make someone cry, and that someone's going to be me because I'm going to be burning cards.
I really wish they'd
one-drop
make
beasts,
Buzzard
though,
like
so
4
good.
mana or something, because it would be pretty good at 4 mana, I think. But it's just dead card at 5. Oh, well.
Yep. Also, an extremely strong minion that will be empowering some of your 1 mana minions that you're going to be playing. The Terror Scale Stalker has been revealed for the Hunter. This is a 3 mana rare 3/3 with a battle cry that reads, trigger a friendly minion's death rattle. You better find a way to deal with that kindly grandmother on turn 2.
That's true.
This is
This is non-legendary Princess Hooran, right? So
I'm
is
kind of...
Hooran is that card rotating?
No,
can't
she's
remember.
staying in, I think.
Okay, Hooran sticking around.
She's
All right.
she's Old Gods, isn't she?
Oh
yes.
yeah, you're right.
She came in with Old Gods.
Yeah. I'm the only reason that I'm kind of on the fence about this card is just because it's the 3 mana slot, and I mean, like, Animal Companion has just been in there forever.
True.
Like
I don't know if it's going
such a
away.
tough-
with this
yeah,
card.
it's such a tough spot.
Sure.
Because I think Animal Companions is just so powerful. I think that stays in your Hunter deck. I think that's a staple. So I'm not sure how this is going to stack up. I almost would rather see like a 4 mana 4/4 with the same effect or something like that, just to kind of fill in a slot that, I mean, I guess Hunters have Houndmaster in that slot, but there's a little bit more wiggle room. I don't know. 3 just seems like it's always kind of a crowded area for Hunters because you have those auto-include Animal Companions.
Well, you're gonna have to figure out now. Yeah, Rat Pack, is that still in there? Because if I'm playing this Death Rattle minion type thing, I probably want Rat Packs, right? Because that's a good Death Rattle. So you're right. 3 is gonna get a little bit crowded. But it's okay for 3 to be slightly crowded if you're trying to play a mid-range variant. Like if you have 6 3-drops, that's not too many, I don't think. The problem is you probably also want kill commands in there too, and those are also, so
that's another 3 mana. Yeah. So, but I think it's good if, like, it gives you options. Like maybe kill commands and Animal Companions fall out in favor of more minion-based stuff. Like maybe the Stalker goes in instead, and you have a whole bunch of early death rattles. Like Garrett mentioned, the Kindly Grandmother, Small Raptor. Like these are really powerful death rattles that you probably do want to trigger. So, yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe I don't know.
I'm not taking my Animal Bite out. I just 3 mana deal 5. No, I'm a Hunter.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
So
I want a
this
3 mana
is
deal
what I
5.
mean. Yeah, this is what I mean. So I think it's kind of a wait and see, but I think that mid-range version of Hunter, I think, is going to be really good. And I like that we're going to be able to experiment with different builds. But yeah, that 3 slot's a little bit.
By the way, though, I will say this: like Small Raptor looks amazing right now, but it might not actually be that good because it shuffles it into your deck. You have to like still draw that. It's not like putting something in immediately onto the board, right? So
No.
Yeah, card draw I think is going to be an issue.
yeah, that card is not like 100% of the time I think an auto include yet. Again, we'll have to like I was saying to you guys before the show started, and I'll kind of reiterate this to the audience, but this is the weirdest set that I've ever seen as far as reviewing it and knowing how good or bad all these things are, because not only are we about to lose a whole bunch of cards, But all of these cards are like, there just looks to be a lot of new synergy, and until we see all the sets and experiment with them, I really think I really think we can't evaluate these cards perfectly. I think we're all kind of assuming some things that may be completely wrong and completely off base. A 1-mana shuffle of 4/3 into your deck might be amazing at this stage if the game slows down enough where you can actually draw into that at some point, right? And so it's very weird, and I'm not 100% sure where anything lands. So I'm going to be a little less like, this is good, this is bad when reviewing a lot of these cards. Like I think I'm going to give all these cards a fair shake when the set comes out.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I was laughing earlier because I never thought I'd hear the phrase maybe include kill command in a hunter deck. Like, never thought I'd hear those words uttered. Yep. I think the answer is still yes, but no, I'm excited to try mid-range hunter, man. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm gonna try and make this quest work in a mid-range archetype it's just a good deck that has some 1-drops. Going to have small raptor. I think it's going to have Terror Scale Stalker. I might use the Terror Scale Stalker on the small raptor to include more 1/1s in my deck, with the goal being to get to 5, play Tolvir Warden, and find those last few 1-cost minions that I need to play to finish my quest.
Yeah, and I think I'm really excited to try out N'Zoth Hunter with all these Death Rattle things too. Princess Hooran plus Terror Scale, and try that thing out. Maybe it's not Marsh Queen as well, but maybe it is. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting opportunities here. We still have patches, so
very true.
That's the thing. Yeah, this could be kind of slow.
Yeah,
kind of a problem.
If Pirate Warrior doesn't slow down at all, which they're not really losing much, let's be honest. Then all of these decks are going to have a little bit of a problem. And also, like, there's some stuff later we'll talk about too, where it's like Jades and Pirates also have to like be taken into consideration when you're looking at all this stuff. So we shall see.
Absolutely. Let's move and talk about some Druid cards. Let's start with Living Mana, which is going to be a 5-mana epic Druid spell. This reads, transform your mana crystals into 2/2 minions. Recover the mana when they die.
Damn.
This seems real bad.
No, this is really good. What are you talking about?
Is it? Okay.
On turn 5, you get 5 2/2s that just turn back into your mana after? This is amazing. And not to mention, it won't even be turn 5. It'll be like turn 3 because you've ramped up, right? So, this will be really good.
So, but then if they don't die, then your next turn you have
then
one.
Then you have 2/2s.
Yeah. I don't know.
If they don't die, it's fine. And plus, you can use them to trade and then get your mana back as you're trading, right? So you can like trade into stuff, get the mana back, and then play more stuff with that mana. This is going to seem really weird.
Are the 2/2s like a
people
death
who don't play
rattle?
Magic? What's that?
I said, are the 2/2s a death rattle? Because it, like, say,
yeah.
let's say, well, but I mean, is it actually like a death rattle on the card? Because if I'm a crazy priest and I have Mass Dispel and I Mass Dispel, are you then like behind all that mana for the rest of the game?
Yeah, but you got to play Mass Dispel, and then you.
Well, no, I know.
Obviously,
that's an extreme example. My point is, can I deny your mana by silencing off the death rattle, or are you guaranteed to get the mana back? Is it an actual
yes, you
death
can
rattle?
silence it. Absolutely,
Okay.
you can. But that doesn't make this card bad because you're going to have to play Mass Dispel in your deck to make this card bad, right?
Or actually, chat room saying Devolve. Devolve is another one that's actually seeing
Devolve
play.
would be good. But again, you have to be a deck that plays like. There's always going to be a counter to everything.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a card bad. Like a card that dies.
I'm curious
like
to how
Ragnaros
this works, 'cause I
dies
don't
to
know
Shadow Word Death. That doesn't mean Ragnaros is bad, right?
Yeah, more times than not, actually, in Hearthstone, cards that are direct counters make them bad. Like that stupid crab that we talked about last week.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's just because there's cards that counter something doesn't mean it's bad. But the thing is, I will say this is a risky card. Yes. It's a very risky card, but it's a card that gives a ton of power and potential, and potentially makes like a new Druid archetype, like where you're back to, I can just make a ton of tokens. Like, let's say I make a bunch of these and then I put, what should we call it? What's the 4-mana, turn them all into Death Rattle, give 2/2s when they die. Like, I could play that combo.
Soul
right?
of the Forest?
Soul of the Forest, thank you. I can play that combo. I get 2/2s, and when they die, give me mana back and our 2/2s again. Like, there's so many things you can do egg style druid and things like that in wild. This is going to be a card that I think we're going to see. This card's out there. This is one I could say definitively, because there's in Magic there's decks that do this, where it's like you have all this mana, you're ramping all this mana, then at a certain point your mana suddenly can fight. So it's a really interesting concept. I'm glad it's here, and yeah, this is going to be good.
It's definitely interesting. I don't know. Yeah, well, I guess it'll be a wait and see, but I don't know. I'm not sold. Not sold.
Okay. Yeah, I could have sworn I saw an image of what the hell they are. And yeah, here it is. I found it. I couldn't find it before the show. Here it is. Mana Treant. Death Rattle, gain an empty mana crystal. So it's a 2/2 for 2 if it gets returned to your hand kind of thing. That's what the card will look like. So it's a silenceable effect, but high risk, high reward. And the only counter that is currently seeing play is Devolve.
Well, Potion of Madness will be good here too, right?
It is, but you're getting one of them. You're not stealing all
one of them, and then you'll get
but
that
then
mana,
you get the
right?
mana crystal, yeah. So
sure.
yeah,
and you'll kill one of theirs too. So I mean, there's definitely going to be some counterplay to this, and there should be, because this is a really powerful effect. There's no way to stop a druid from just suddenly having a full board of 2/2s anytime they wanted to. It could be bad. I mean, druids have Savage Roar, so
yeah, there'll be times where you play this and you can get blown out by something like a Devolve, but I think more often than not, this is a pretty safe play against a large variety of classes in Hearthstone.
So it's interesting though, because like there's no other card that gives you like 5 mana 10/10 worth of stuff, right? Like there just isn't that card in the game yet. So I guess the card that you get off of White Eyes, the Storm Guardian, there you go. There's your 5 mana 10/10. But it's like one attack, like 1 10/10, one attack. Like this is something where you can get like a bunch of attacks, turn them back into mana, get a big tempo advantage, and play more stuff the next turn after you get cleared the board the turn before. So it's an interesting card. This is one of those you'll have to wait and see it in play before you like believe why it's good.
It's also going to be good when combined with the next druid card we're going to talk about, Evolving Spores, a 4 mana rare druid spell that reads, adapt your minions. All your minions currently in play.
This is only really good when you have a board like this full of 2/2s type thing.
Well, I've been playing a lot of Egg Druid and Wild lately. I can't wait for this card.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, this seems like an awesome token druid card. This I can look at and go, yes, I can see how that's good.
Yeah, it's the problem is for me, like, so I'm guessing it's gonna work like I pick an adapt and then all my minions get that adapt.
That's
right?
true. Yeah, you're probably not going to get to adapt.
You're not going to individually adapt each one.
Yeah.
So putting on like putting on divine shields, stealthing all my minions, that kind of stuff will definitely be very powerful. But if I have like a board of tokens, and I have some bad options, right? Then it's again like a risk reward card. I think there's going to be some really powerful turns with this, where it's going to essentially be a bloodlust, right? Because isn't there one like +3 attack?
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
There's
if you get
+3
attack, you got a
health.
4 mana bloodlust.
There is +3 attack. So you're right. There's a +3 health, there's a +3 attack, and there's a +1/+1.
Yeah, and it's permanent too, right? So bloodlust goes away after a turn. So.
Sure. Yeah. No. This is literally just this is like every fin is possible. What's the one where you +2/+2 all your?
Every fin is awesome.
Every fin is awesome. Whatever. All right. That card's going away. But yeah, this kind of act like that, where you get a permanent buff to all your dudes. But giving all your dudes like Divine Shield could be really, really good.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, really, really
or
damn
making all
good.
your minions poisonous, like there's all kinds of things that you could do to make that work. But I think both of these cards kind of have the same issue. Is Jades are so powerful and they're going to be around for so long. Like we might only get like 4 months of living mana and evolving spores in the time between when like 2016 sets rotate out and 2017 sets are still there.
That's
like this won't get played in like a Jade Druid though, right? Because
no,
you don't care about adapting your Jades. You just care about making more Jades. You're like,
exactly.
These are gonna kill you regardless, So
that's what I mean. Like these cards that could potentially be cool. I don't know if they're going to be enough to supplant Jade as the way you play Druid.
Yeah, this seems to support like a token Druid style, right?
Yes.
Which we'll see if it comes back. And like you mentioned, Garrett, Egg Druid in Wild is still a very powerful deck. That's what I played. Yeah. I'm still trying to get Golden Druid, so that's what I was choosing to do it with because I just can't. Playing Jade Druid just kills my soul little by little as I'm doing it. So I was like, Egg Druid, this is fun. I get to play with the ruby and eggs again. Like I got dragon eggs in here. It's great.
100% smug wild player right now because Jocelyn, I hear all of your concerns and you're making so much sense. It hurts. I don't care because I'm just gonna be like, yeah, my egg druid just got even more awesome. So I can't wait. Bring on evolving spores.
+1/+1 to all your minions. Then you'll be able to evolve evolving spores. All your little dudes. Yeah, this is gonna be great.
It's gonna be disgusting. I can't wait.
I am really excited for how excited you guys are for Wild right now. Just FYI.
Yeah. Well, part of it is I've been playing a lot of it right now because I'm so bored with the current meta. Also, I think for our if we do our next three-headed chicken stream before anything launches, we should do Jade Druid because I cannot win with that deck. I am incapable of winning a game with Jade Druid. I don't know what the problem is. I'm assuming it's me.
63% with that deck, so
yeah.
I'm one of the terrible people that likes Jade Druid. I've been playing it for a while now, and I love the little Jade spirit. Every time I play it, it's like woohoo!
I like happy. Jade a lot too, but Jade Druid and I do not get along. I don't know if I've just had awful luck or if I'm missing something. Well,
are you getting
really
run
obvious.
over by aggro, or are you like losing matchups where
I'm getting run over by aggro and I'm losing to other Jade decks?
Well, losing to other Jade decks is kind of like, this is why I don't like Jade, because it's just like who drew their Jade stuff and who played it first.
Yeah,
that's who wins. So it just takes away all of this like back and forth skill that I really enjoy in Hearthstone, and it just kind of makes it like a race to the Jades. Whereas like an aggro versus aggro matchup is really fun because there's a lot of like interesting like, okay, do I trade or when do I position myself to start going face? When do I do this?
You can draw Jade, differently.
Like, well, I got Jade Blossom, and then I got Jade Behemoth, and then I got this, and then I brand, and I did the other thing, and I played Aya, and so my Jades are 8/8s, and yours are 6/6s. I win.
Yeah,
no, I agree. I think that's the problem I have with it.
I'm struggling to think of a more boring mirror matchup, like from a spectator aspect in the history of Hearthstone than Jade versus Jade. Because
because like even Dragon Priest, there's a lot of minion combat where if you do it correctly, you like can win.
I just thought of it.
A long game.
Secret Paladin versus Secret Paladin was the worst mirror matchup in the history of Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Never mind. It's all okay here. It's all okay. Hearthstone is indeed getting better.
I'm very hopeful though that we're gonna get some new druids out there, and when we see druid, we don't just immediately go like, dang it. Because I was excited when the whole Kuhn, Aviana, Cthulhu thing started happening. Yeah. It was very cool. And then everyone realized, Jade's just better.
Yeah.
What am I doing here?
Yep, indeed. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about one mage card and then a bunch of paladin cards. Mages are getting a new spell called Mana Bind, which is a 3-mana rare spell, a secret to be specific, that reads, when your opponent casts a spell, add a copy to your hand that costs 0. This
is pretty cool. I don't know if it's good, but it's very cool.
Yeah, this is a really cool card. Also, because I haven't gone down this rabbit hole yet this episode, really cool piece of art. I like this little mana monster thing. Looks sweet. But I like tricky cards. Like this almost feels priest-like to me in the way that it's tricky.
The problem with this card, though, to me, I think, is that there's already like we talked about push and polymorph, right? And there was already counterplay to that because there's a spell that gets triggered. There's a secret that already gets triggered the same way.
Yeah, you can test for it the same way.
Yeah.
So this is going to get you a coin a lot of times when people are like testing for counterspell and stuff, right?
Right.
You're like, sweet, I got a 0 and a coin.
Yeah, that is a good point.
I think you have to be very, very careful with when you play it. And I think that if you play it at the right time, it's going to be super powerful, right? Because then you're potentially getting like a free flame strike or something if you're playing another mage. Like I think there's a lot of amazing spells if you can get them for free.
Yeah.
Right?
But is it better to get their spell for free and have it go off, or is it better to just counter it?
Stop it, yeah.
Right? Like that's the question. Is this because if you wanted to do this kind of effect, wouldn't you rather just play counterspell? Like if you were just trying to like stop their spell. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, but at the same time, you could have a very powerful spell that's free that obviously plays very well with Antonidas, right? But then at that point, if you've got Antonidas on board, then are you already just winning?
Like, it gives you like another way to get a cheap Antonidas spell. That's true. Yeah. Or another way to get like Flame Waker stuff, which was now going to be a wild deck. But
yes.
Okay.
There's also like later in the game when things like the coin or Innervate have been played, then this is a much better pick because they're going to have to use something that actually has a mana cost associated with it. Which increases your likelihood of value. But yeah, I'm not convinced it's a good card, but it's an interesting card.
It's interesting, yeah.
So like Lodvar in chat is like 0 mana Flame Strike, 0 mana Pyroblast. But if they Flame Strike your board, you still got Flame Striked. And if they Pyroblasted you, you're probably dead. Your 0 mana Pyroblast is probably not doing anything.
Actually, yeah, that's a very Flame Strike. I'm Flame Strike. That's fine because a lot of times mages are going to Flame Strike. And if you have a Flame Strike to counter, like follow up with, that's good. Although they're going to know you have it.
Again, though, how often do they Flame Strike you and then they have a board that's Flame Strikeable the next turn, right? Like usually when they Flame Strike you, they spend 7 mana on it. They don't do anything else that turn. You don't just turn around and be like, sweet, now I can Flame Strike you back. Like it doesn't. Maybe sure at some point in the future. I just think the way it actually plays out. This might not be as good as just straight up countering that Flame Strike, right?
Yeah, also in a 3 mana, like a lot of the mid-rangey spells that you'd be happy to get, you would have spent 3 mana anyway, and if it's like a Shaman board clear, you're going to overload yourself. There's a lot of scenarios where the value of this goes rapidly down.
Okay, it depends too. We don't know what the Mage Quest is yet, right?
Sure.
If the Mage Quest has to do with secrets, then I think this gets even better, right? Because it's one more
playable
option.
Secret.
It's a playable secret, yeah.
Correct. Yeah. No, that's a good point. But all the points you brought up, Dills, absolutely right. The big thing for me is the testing. You know, you test for this the same way you test for Counterspell. And
so let me hip you guys to an idea I was talking about last night. And this is a little bit of a tangent, but just something. You know how we used to have Joust, and we're like happy that Joust is like kind of going away because it's just the stupid thing where if you win, it's like really good, and if you lose, you're like, oh, maybe I lose the game now. Especially like in Arena, like those types of things can be just game breaking to the actual that individual game, right? It's like I win the Joust, I win the game, and that feels bad for the player because you felt like you had nothing to do with its outcome, right? You can't even like plan for that necessarily. Like you can plan for like knife juggler hits to go where you want them to by killing things and stuff like that. So what if they brought back a Joust scenario, but instead both players discovered, right? So you'd play your Joust card and it would say, you know, Joust, both players discover, and you pick a card, and if you like win the Joust, you get or stop this effect. But if you pick like the lower card, you can like draw that card. Like so you either like win the Joust or you draw like a low cost card. And so the opponent can decide whether he wants to try to beat your Joust and stop the effect, or if he's like, okay, I'm going to let the Joust happen, but I'm going to draw this like 2 mana card, right? And then there's like counterplay where you can decide if it's more important to try to stop the Joust effect, or it's like, oh, I can't stop it, so I guess I'll at least pick this card that I can take. And the opposite or the offensive player can be like, you know what? It's more important that I take this card and lose this Joust and don't get my Joust effect I was hoping for, because this is a really important card to me to just draw right now. And then you kind of have like this interesting counterplay and decision making.
So you're suggesting something where you would have to make a decision on your opponent's turn?
Yeah,
yes.
both players make a decision.
Both players have to discover, which is why.
So do you take the highest? Yeah. So do you take the highest mana cost minion to try to win the Joust, or do you take a lower one and like
take a lower one and just try to draw that card?
When the Joust resolves, there's a winning a Joust effect and a card draw effect for the loser.
Each player gets something. Right?
Yeah.
So the Joust, the whatever the Joust effect is, can be really powerful for like tempo. But the other guy kind of gets some value, right? Because they end up drawing a card.
And it'd be interesting. I feel like the winning the Joust should still be more powerful than drawing a card would be.
Yeah. The cards would have to be balanced around the fact that the Joust effect needs to be something strong enough that you're trying to go for it, rather than just like, I want to draw this card, right? So, but it gives you like a little counterplay. I can like try to win the Joust, right? And then like that way it's not this random thing where you're like, ah, damn, you know, I got unlucky. But then also it's like both players are actually doing something. They're like jousting, kind of.
Yeah.
Right?
The only thing I see, I think is really cool. The only thing I see is like we've never seen anything in the game where you get to actually do something interactive on your opponent's turn.
Yeah. This is the problem with it, is that in Hearthstone, they just turn you off on the opponent's turn. So, it may not happen. Like this is a card that would stop every bathroom break during your opponent's turn ever if it existed.
Yeah.
It didn't do it anymore.
I
still think it'll be very cool. So I'm hopeful that at some point we see something like
basically
that.
What Dills is advocating for is Hearthstone, turn your players on, don't turn your players off.
Everyone likes to be turned on, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, that's just like a little tangent, because this card I think kind of gives you that bit of like, is this actually worth the thing, and do I do this or counter it, right? Like that's kind of what I'm talking about, because it brings up that bit of like that kind of interesting decision making where it's like, is it better to steal their spell or counter their spell?
This would be super cool, right? If it said, secret, choose one. And then it had those two things. When your opponent casts a spell, choose one, add a copy to your hand that costs 0, or copy it. Or counter
Druid Mage secret.
That'd be really cool. That'd be so cool.
What about a secret when it goes off, you discover one of 3 effects, right? Like the spell goes off, and then you're like, okay, shall I counter it, copy it, or like flip it? I don't know, something like that. Like,
cast it on your opponent.
I don't know,
man.
but
you'd cast on your opponent every time.
yeah, maybe.
Yep. I can dig. Let's move on to Paladin. Their quest has finally been shown, even though the reward was like the laziest tease ever at the end of their first short with Danny Pudi. The Last Kaleidosaur is the name of the Paladin quest. So this will be your 1-mana legendary quest spell. The quest is to cast 6 spells on your minions. It's a very important distinction. The reward of which is Galvadon, who apparently, I guess, is the last Kaleidosaur. I don't know if I look, do I hold Galvadon up to my eyes and see something pretty if I spin him? But Galvadon is a 5-mana legendary 5/5 paladin beast with a battle cry that reads, adapt 5 times.
Yeah.
5 damn times. Okay, so I've been out of town. I was at that Heroes Summit for the big 2.0 announcement that came out. So I don't know if this has been clarified. Will it give you the option of things that cannot stack?
I don't know about that, actually.
Is it smart enough not to give you Divine Shield
on it, because some things can't stack anyway, right?
Right. Divine Shield is an option. Wind Fury is an option. Poisonous is an option.
Yeah.
Taunt is an option. Stealth is an option.
I think it'll throw those out. So I think basically you get 3 options, you pick one, and then you won't get that one again as an option. So that's my understanding. Which means you'll end up getting like you could think about this. You could be like, okay, this guy sometimes will be an 8/8 or a 9/9 stealth Wind Fury, right? Like sometimes that will happen. And will you win the game when that happens? Probably, because you swing for 18 the next turn.
I love how chat room. We ask a question and chat room's like, it will not.
Those are
Thank
literally.
you, chat room.
You can't get things
so
twice.
Those are the 2 options.
That makes 0 sense to me, by the way.
They clarified it is not smart like Kazakus.
Okay.
So that kind of sucks. Because there's
That's
a
really
lot of
stupid.
adapt effects that
Why
do
would
not
you make it
stack.
not smart like Kazakus?
Yeah, that's
You
awful.
have the technology.
I mean, like half of the effects don't stack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll get like picks where, so basically you'll try not to pick ones that do stack early on, right?
Yeah.
Or that don't stack early
potentially-
on. Like you'll try to pick ones that could potentially stack, so you don't end up getting those again.
Yeah, so you're gonna probably go for like attack and health first, and then later on figure out if you want the stealth option or the wind fury or whatever.
Sure.
But and the other thing is too, I think they've clarified that adapting is a buff, right? So you could potentially adapt this 5 times, get this super awesome minion, and if you don't get stealth, your opponent can just be like, silence.
Yes, absolutely. And even if it wasn't a buff, it still is susceptible to things like Hex and Polymorph. But it is a buff.
Oh
so
yes, yeah.
there's
I
more
mean,
than one
again,
ways.
though, like
It's just
I
one
I
more
don't believe
mechanic, I
silence is going to be the big like thing coming back here. Like I think I think it's fine as far as that's concerned. But you're always going to probably want to look for stealth at some point, right? To make sure that this guy sticks if you're going for this.
Yeah.
My issue though is that it's the quest itself. All right, the Galvadon issue that stacking whatever. Okay. The quest itself, like this doesn't count like hand buffing. So now we've like still hand buffing sucks. Like we're just it's not like, oh man, they gave us this thing that's just never gonna work.
You have to target a minion on board, right? With your spell? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like Silver Moon Portal stuff, Blessing of Kings, Blessing of Might, those kind of spells.
All your blessings, yeah.
Yeah. And we actually got Spiked Ridge Steed is another spell that you can cast on a minion. Doing this 6 times means you have to have 6 minions living throughout the game, and then
which
draw
your hero
6
power
of these
will
buffing
technically help with, right? Because you're potentially you're making a 1/1 potentially every turn.
Sure, but it's going to be difficult. You're going to have to play a deck full of like sticky minions and full of buff spells.
Yeah.
Ugh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not sold right now. Well, this is again another card like, hi Iggy. This is another card where we're gonna have to see this in action before we can really say for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I'm leaning on the side of crap quest. Like traditionally, minion buffing just hasn't been that great. It has found its way sparingly into classes or decks in the past, but not 6 of them. 6 of them have not found their way.
Yeah, like 2 Blessing of Kings and then
exactly.
I mean, I have seen people playing, although is that one, what's the one that gives the Divine Shield and +3 attack? That one's rotating out, right?
I think so.
Yes, and I'm blanking on the name.
Blessing of Might or something?
There's still Divine Strength, I believe, which is the +1, +2. So there's still that. There's still Silver Moon Portal.
But things like effects that your minions give. So if you're like, there's a minion that you play that you can grant Divine Shield, or like things like Avenge. Yeah, so those things
literally
don't
says
count.
Spell.
Yeah, so you have to cast spells, which I don't know about
it's,
that. But
Seal of Champions
was a
TGT
card, I believe.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
So
maybe
gonna be difficult.
Maybe in Wild is where this quest belongs,
Maybe.
which I also think that some of the other cool stuff that they're doing with Paladin is going to make Wild so much fun. I'm so excited about these other couple of things that we're going to talk about in a second. But man, Silverhand recruits, your time has come.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it really has. It really has, yeah. So last Kaleidosaur, we'll find out. I think it's poopy. Sunkeeper Tarim is next. I love the art on this. This dude is just so happy to be alive. Look at that grin. He's so happy. Anyway, so Sunkeeper Tarim is your new legendary minion as a paladin. He will cost you 6 mana. He has 3 attacks, 7 health. He has taunt and a battle cry that reads, set all other minions' attack and health to 3.
Screw you, J-Dex.
Indeed, screw you. Screw you, yeah. I originally, at the time of Mr. Sunkeeper, or Mrs., I don't know. Do we know it's the can we tell the gender of rock monsters? I don't think we can.
It's kind of hard.
Yeah, of rock monster Sunkeeper here. When they originally showed this card, I wasn't very excited because I'm like, oh, but that's fine, I guess. That's okay. But now we know we're getting lost in the jungle. Now we know that as a paladin, we're going to be able to put in a common spell for 1 mana that reads summon 2 1/1 Silverhand recruits. That makes me a lot more excited for Mr. Sunkeeper here.
Yeah, I'm not convinced yet again, because we had Eadric the Pure, right?
Yeah.
And he never really made his way in there. And there's a very similar effect outside of the fact that this guy has taunt himself, right? So he's a 6 mana 3/7 that he has taunt.
Yeah, with enough damage to then kill anything that runs into him, right? Because
so
your opponent's minions are going to be 3/3s, then
he immediately
he's going to take
3
down.
for 1s, whatever's left on the board. So that part is definitely very good. But again, it's like I'm not 100% convinced yet because that card failed to launch, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
we also had for a long
but-
time we had Quartermaster, which didn't quite. It found its way kind of into some decks.
Oh, it
the
absolutely
meta
found
has
its
slowed down
way.
quite a
Oh,
bit.
come on. Quartermaster absolutely found its way into decks.
In a much slower meta than today, though, and also oftentimes you only saw one of, and also that was a time when people were playing the 1 mana cast 3 or 3 mana cast 3 dudes play
Muster
1/4
for
weapon,
battle.
right? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, but
that's
again,
a lot,
you're. I think you're skipping over some key facts. Like Muster was 3 mana. Frickin' Lost in the Jungle is 1. Sunkeeper Tarum, while yes, I get the comparing it to Eadric, it's a completely different card. Eadric, you're trying to stem incoming damage. Sunkeeper, you're looking to, in the best case scenario, buff your tokens and take your opponent's minions down a peg or 2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah. But again, though, it's like we're going to have to see this card. This is why I'm saying you have to see this card in action, because if that's a viable strategy, if it's a viable strategy to play a bunch of like little 1/1 dudes and they actually get to stick to the board, then hell yeah, this card will be good. But if that's not a viable strategy, this card will never get there.
Well,
That's all I'm saying.
if mid-range
Like,
paladin,
I'm not saying it's an objectively bad card. I'm just saying like this strategy has to be viable. This has to work before this card will work itself.
oh, I agree, and that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying it in an excited tone because paladin sucks. They're my favorite class, and I would like them to be good again. So I hope that this takes off. Because
yeah, I'm just not convinced yet. That's all. Like I've seen some people look at this card and be like, "This card is amazing," and I'm like, "Well, it might not be. Don't get your hopes up just yet."
Right. I'm excited about this because of Lost in the Jungle. They don't need to be sticky because I can cast 2 Lost in the Jungles on turn 8 with this guy, and we're fine. They don't need to be sticky. 1 mana, I can fit that in.
So the other thing too, though, is like, okay, imagine you're playing against like an aggro deck. Suddenly, this card is like really bad, right? Because you're like buffing their dudes.
Yes.
They're playing a bunch of like little dudes themselves.
Yes, it's also
And
horrible
if they just
against.
have removal for this guy, you're like, "Yay, you buffed our guys! Here we go!" You know.
Yeah, it's also really
Touch
bad
base now.
against a brand new card that we already talked about today, Living Mana. This is a nightmare card. If your druid opponent is running Living Mana, suddenly their 2/2s are 3/3s. They're no longer ballerinas.
So yeah, it's interesting. We'll see. I do hear this thing like I'm seeing in the chat too, and I heard you mention it too, Joss, like Jade counter. But to be honest, like Paladin already had like a quality Consecrate, a quality Wild Pyro. Like they already had tools to deal with large boards of Jades. I don't think this necessarily is like a game-breaking counter to that. It's like it's another tool if that's the
again. I'm gonna make the argument though of if this archetype works, I think this archetype still runs equality. I think it still runs Consecrate. So why not have yet another way to deal with Jades? Because that's kind of the issue of Jades is the inevitability, just how long they can keep pumping out those things. So if you can take them down twice with the quality Consecrate, and then you still have this as a backup, I think you'll do okay. But again, Dills, you're right. It is all dependent on if this archetype even has legs in the first place.
Yeah. And we've seen this before though, where like there's an obvious counter, or like you see a card and you're like, this is an obvious counter to this, and then it turns out that like the tools we already had were like just enough for that, and then this didn't really add to that. Like you're potentially taking out some other really good 6-drop if you're putting this in. So you just always kind of gotta like balance expectations with what reality is going to look like. That's all. Like, I'm very hopeful that this card is good. I do find it weird though when I talk about a card. I'm like a little bit like not sure. People like seem to think that these cards are like part of them. Like, oh, but I love this card. And you're like, it's a card. It's digital pixels. It's fine. Like it doesn't have feelings. I can say it might not be good, and it won't mind. It doesn't matter.
I mean, in this case, yeah, I'm having a personal reaction, but it's because of Paladin. Sure. It's not because of this card specifically. It's because of my hopes and my dreams for what used to be my favorite class in the game to come back.
I just look at all these things pragmatically, I think. Like, I'm just like, this card is a tool. Is it a good tool or a bad tool? Like, do I need a different tool? Like, in this case, I needed a Phillips head. Or, hi, okay. All right.
And this Dills is why
Iggy loves Sunkeeper Tarum. He's over here like, dude, shut up. That's my favorite card.
Yeah, and this Dills is why all of your classes are like maxed out in level, and why only some of mine are pretty high in level, and others like Druid and Rogue are super low, and people get angry with me on YouTube when they see my account. And, I'm a different type of player.
Like, I play all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I look at everything kind of objectively, and this card this is one of the cards I meant, or I was talking about when I said I can't evaluate a lot of these.
Evaluate it yet, yeah.
Like, these are all wait and sees to me, and a lot of people looked at this and said immediately, like, this is the best card. And I'm like, wait and see.
When they first showed it, I thought it was crap because we hadn't seen Lost in the Jungle yet. I was like, well,
Sure.
that's
Lost in the
lame.
Jungle is helpful.
But Lost in the Jungle coming in, I'm like, okay, if we get more stuff that create tokens and more ways to buff said tokens, then I think Sunkeeper Tarim finds a home. If that is not the case, I think Sunkeeper Tarim is excruciatingly mediocre.
Yeah.
So
Can we talk about Lost in the Jungle now? Because this is what I'm excited for.
I think we already did, but this is a good card. Just in general, I love this card. It's a 1-mana common spell for paladins that summons 2 1/1 Silverhand recruits.
And that, along with the Light Fuse Stegodon, which is adapt your Silverhand recruits, plus muster for battle, plus your hero power in wild, plus then Quartermaster on top of all of that. Dudes!
Yeah.
I am so excited. Plus, you're going to have, obviously, what's her name? Justicar. She's rotating out, so she'll be in wild, and she'll let you make 2 1/1 dudes, Silverhand recruits. I'm just really excited to make a Silverhand recruit deck in wild. I think it's going to be so fun to play.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm excited.
Isn't Stand Against Darkness still in? That's Old Gods, right?
That was Old
That's
Gods.
Old Gods, yeah.
Yes, because
So that's still here, right? So
Yeah.
you could Stand Against Darkness and do Silverhand recruit stuff in Standard still, potentially. But you're right, in Wild, I think
But
it's going to be a
there's
much
so
more
many
viable
tools
strategy.
in Wild. Yeah, like you're going to have 2 1/1s on turn 1, plus another one on turn 2, plus going into muster for battle on turn 3. Like, how is anyone going to deal with that? And then on turn 4, you drop your Stegodon and you make all your 1/1s have super cool powers.
Also, Stand Against Darkness is a lot less exciting because you're getting 5 1/1s for 5. Lost in the Jungle, you're getting 2 1/1s for 1.
But you can play Lost in the Jungle, you could play Stand Against Darkness and Light Fuse Stegodon on the same turn.
Yes,
turn
yes,
9.
you can. It's turn 9, but you need to get to turn 9.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be. I can find a turn to Lost in the Jungle, a realistic turn.
Absolutely. So I guess you have to wonder:
Dudes for days, guys. Dudes for days. I'm excited.
But is it good on turn 5 to play Lost in the Jungle and Light
So
Fuse
hot.
Stegodon? Like, is that going to be a really good turn, right? Or is that going to be a weak turn? That's what we're going to have to wait and see.
Right, and that's where our confusion about everything comes, because there's a lot of really strong decks right now. There's a lot of really strong, really fast decks right now. Where do those fall after Angora releases? Because who knows if Paladin has what it takes to even get to those turns.
Sure.
I am unsure that I can even make it to 5 where I could Lost in the Jungle and Light Fuse Stegodon. I am unsure of that.
So I just want to address something that was said in chat, which is that Stand Against Darkness is crap value compared to Lost in the Jungle. But you have to consider the fact that it's one card. Like, you have to play 2.5 Lost Jungles to get 1 card's worth of value. So even though, yes, the mana doesn't translate 1-to-1, obviously, like, if they were scaled 1-to-1, it would be 5 mana summon 10 1/1s, which you can't even do. But, like, when you scale things up, they don't necessarily have to scale perfectly because a card is still worth something, right?
Mr. Dills,
Yes.
There's also Living Mana now, which when I compare Stand Against Darkness to Living Mana,
But Stand Against Darkness, you don't then have 0 mana going into the next turn. So there's always, like, trade-offs, and no cards and plus you can't really compare class cards to other class cards 1-to-1 either, because classes do different things differently. So, it's one of those things where I don't want people to get hung up on, well, this card, if I scale it up, doesn't exactly match like the other card, right? Like, people are still playing Pyroblast, even though technically you're paying, 10 mana to do 10 damage, where you could pay 4 to do 6 in the same class. But you have to take 2 cards to do 12. Like, you got to remember that a 1 card has a value too. And the ability to put things onto 1 card has value. So just want to point that out, because this Stand Against Darkness card was obviously never really got there, but maybe just didn't have the tools to get there. And it could now. These could be the tools that it was missing, right? Where that is a card that actually matters again. Maybe.
True.
Don't know.
I'm also realizing that Spike Ridge Steed is missing from our images here, so give me a moment.
Well, we could talk about it a little bit. 6 mana. Give a minion +2/+6 and taunt.
And what are these
and
stats?
Give it a death rattle that it summons a 2/6 with taunt when it dies. Stegodon. So
Gotcha. So this is spell.
that's a lot of stuff on one card, man.
Yeah, here it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of things going on a minion buff.
Yeah, so it's buffing it. So 6 mana might seem bad when you compare it to, there's a priest, 5 mana +2/+6 already, I believe.
Isn't that tentacles for arms?
Yeah, not tentacles for arms, but something with tentacles.
So I'm reading
Isn't
that.
the tentacles for arms?
Oh, yeah,
that's the warrior.
That's the warrior weapon.
right?
Yeah.
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 But it is tentacles something.
It's something with I know the art on the card is like some
Chat'll
crazy
help
chick
us in-
who's just like,
chat'll
oh,
help us in a
tentacles. Yeah.
So that's also 2/6 for 5. But you're not getting a death rattle. Summon another 2/6. And that
Blessing
guy.
of tentacles? Power word tentacles.
Power word tentacles. There
We
it
haven't
is. All right.
seen,
So anyway,
or at least I cannot find the Stegodon token
The
that is
token?
summoned off of this. What is it?
it's 2 mana 2/6 with taunt.
Oh.
Or, a 6 mana 2/6 with taunt.
But
it's
okay, but
for
it just hits the board because it's summoned off of
Yeah,
whatever
exactly.
you put this on.
The 6 mana part only matters if you're
If it gets bounced.
bouncing it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it essentially gets a death rattle summon a Stegodon.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool. I like that.
Like
I like that a
6
lot.
mana play more 2/6s. I don't know. Or 4 mana 2/6. Thank you. And
okay.
and this in chat. Yeah. And I believe it's also just a card on its own, actually. So
The Stegodon is?
I think so. Yeah. So we're summoning. It's a token, but it's also a card on its own.
Yeah, it's a 2/6 token essentially. It was one of the. I was looking for it before this, and I don't think an image has been released because I can't find one anywhere, not on any of the fan sites. But if it's a 2/6 Stegodon, cool. That makes sense.
It's on
It's clever.
Hearthstone. I saw it earlier. Let me see if I
Did
can
you?
find it
I'm
again.
looking at Hearthstone right now, and it's not under the token section.
Really?
Well, because it's a card on its own, though, right?
yeah, it's a
So-
card.
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
have a whole section for that on Hearthstone, and that's where I'm looking right now. They have 2
here it is. Heart
Galvadons.
of Angora, 4 new cards revealed. I'm gonna go send you the link now.
Oh, see, I'm looking under their catch-all of every card that's been revealed so far.
Oh, maybe yeah, because this was like just today, 4 hours ago.
Okay, so that would explain why. That also is why I didn't have it on the Twitch overlay, because I made this graphic about 5 hours
5
ago.
hours ago.
Yep. Anyways, cool. We got more cards to
4
talk
mana,
about.
2/6
So.
with taunt, neutral beast, and I mean, I think this card is pretty good actually. It's especially if I think it's a really good arena card. First of all, but as far as like getting your quest done, yeah, you're paying 6 mana for buffing a guy 2/6, giving it taunt, and then playing another 2/6 with taunt at some point in the future. That buys a lot of time.
That's a solid.
That is
I mean,
true.
A ton of time.
one of the
That's a big
biggest
wall.
one of the biggest reasons that minion buffing is so risky is because if your minion dies, if they use one card to remove your one minion that now has a second card into it, they're getting 2 cards out of one. They're getting 2. You're getting 1 for 2.
1 for 2.
Which sucks and is bad. And the reason that this is good is that if they do that outside of transforming it or silencing it, you're getting the 2/6 back. And if they silence it, that's not the end of the world. You still have whatever the original vanilla minion was. But if they use targeted removal, if they remove it in any way and you get that 2/6, that makes this buff way more worth it.
Sure, and also if you use this to then buff something that's already on the board and gets to attack and trade with something, and then your dude lives because of this, then that's super value, right? It's like even if they remove it with 1 card at that point, you've already killed something with it. So it's like, sure, it's 2 cards now in 1, but I already killed something. That's why like Blessing of Kings is best used not just like I play a dude and then I Blessing of Kings it like right away, and then he has Summoning Sickness. It's best used when a dude lives, and then you get value out of it from that point.
Yeah,
right?
and-
So I think that's how you're going to see this card, or it's going to go onto a Silverhand Recruit or something.
And
right?
chat room's also saying hope for no sap. Sap's again not the end of the world. You're still getting at least the original card back. Whereas,
yeah, but you'll get the original card back, but this whole 6-mana Spiked Bridge Steed will be gone.
well, yes,
right?
that does stink, but you're not
Sap
getting
is
Death Rattle either.
Probably worst case scenario.
Yeah,
right?
Sap is not a
Sap
1
is
for
probably
2.
the worst thing that could happen to this card. But if you put this onto a Tyrion, you got Tyrion back. I don't know. Like it's fine. Like
Yeah, no,
Sap is a really good card. Obviously,
transforming
it's gonna be
is
good
the
in
worst
some
thing that could
situations.
happen because you lose
Wait,
both.
Sap is good? Damn,
Yes.
I've been playing Rogue
Turns
so
out.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is another situation where like just because there's a counter for a card doesn't mean that card is necessarily bad.
Right. Hex and Polymorph are the worst things that can happen to this card because it is a 1 for 2 versus Sap is you're still at least getting one of the 2 cards back.
Yep.
So let's move on. More cards to talk about. Let's talk some Priests and then we'll talk some Rogue. Curious Glimmer Root. All right, strap in, guys. Things are about to get super weird. This is a new minion for Priest. It's a 3-mana 3/3. It is epic rarity for your arena players, and it has a battle cry that reads, look at 3 cards. Guess which one started in your opponent's deck to get a copy of it.
Sometimes this will be difficult, but most of the time I think this is going to be 3-mana 3/3 draw a card. From your opponent's deck.
And again, this was revealed while I was traveling. Was this clarified that it shows you 1 card that is in the deck and 2 others that are just not in the deck?
Yeah.
Will it show you? Could it show you 2 that might be in their hand currently?
I don't know if that matters.
That's my question. Because then
it'll never be 2. You'll never see 2 cards that started in their deck. Period. Like it'll always be 1 card that was in it and 2 cards that were not.
Okay, so it's not pulling from what the current deck is. It's pulling from all 30 cards that entered the game at the beginning.
Yeah, like something that started in their deck,
Okay.
essentially. And you're making a copy of it. So,
Gotcha.
I don't think it matters whether it's in the hand or the deck currently. All that matters is it's a card that was one of their 30 cards. So, and it's also only class cards, which we also have to point out. There's not going to be any neutral options here.
Okay, so it's only class cards, even though it doesn't specify that.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
that's cool.
It's a weird card, man. It's a super weird card.
I like it.
It's really cool, though.
I do too.
I think it's going to reward game knowledge, right? It's going to reward you knowing the meta. So this is a card that is not going to be great if you're new to the game and you don't know what the hell is in other people's decks. It's also going to be, for that reason, a terrible arena card. Absolutely awful in arena.
Yeah.
This is crap.
You'll
in
never
arena.
know.
This also isn't particularly great against Reno decks because there's a lot of variance in Reno deck lists.
Sure,
but
you can at least still make an educated guess, right?
Yes.
Like, and there will be times where you're like, okay, I'm playing against a druid, and they offered swipe, savagery, and you're like, okay, yeah, swipe was in his deck. like that's what's in there.
Yeah.
So there will definitely be times where it's like, got it, okay, sweet. But if you miss, worst case, you just play a 3-mana 3/3. It's not the worst thing ever. So
well, and if you miss, you also get a lot of information because if you pick the objectively best card and you don't get it, then you're like, holy crap, what is he doing with his deck?
This is a warrior
and
with
then,
no fiery war axe.
well, yeah, then you have the information that he's going with one of the other 2 options, and if he's going with one of the 2 options, then he's not necessarily playing a meta deck, which is so much so valuable in and of itself.
Yeah,
that like almost maybe more so than a meta card, right? Like if I suddenly know that you're playing Confuse, then I'm going to be like, whoa, this changes how I'm playing the game.
That being said, Jocelyn, it also could just mean you took a season off and you're starting to like rank 24.
Shush, Garrett.
That's true too. This card is going to be better at like legend rank than rank 24. Because at rank 24 you have no freaking clue.
Yeah, you're just like, boy, I don't know. Well, no, then I metagame it. I'm like, I think they think Chillwind Yeti's a good card.
You'll never get a Chillwind Yeti.
You'll never get Chillwind Yeti.
Oh,
it's their class.
But what? Good question by the chat room. What happens if, just for the sake of being a jerk, my entire deck is nothing but neutral minions? What does Curious Glimmer Root show me?
I don't know. Well, you just lose, I guess.
Disguised Toast is on the scene.
It can be done. You're right. And actually, too, like, are there any classes that have like less than 30 possibilities? Like if you did make a one of, I think there's always more than 30 in every class now, right? Like,
well, the thing is,
if you put one of each class card, there would still be some left over no matter what. I think.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, because I think you get 9 class cards per expansion, right?
Sure.
So, not like that's 18 cards per, or I guess 18 cards plus an adventure in 2016. And then you have the basic and classic set.
Yeah, I think there's always
that.
over 30.
So there's always over 30 options. Yeah.
So in the chat
Even
room, they'll
in
show
standard
class specific
rotation.
unless the deck started with only neutrals, then you'll get a random selection. Okay.
Very cool.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, of course, that's got to be a contingency.
Well,
that's
but then
been thought of.
how would you win then? I guess you could just never win.
If you would have a terrible deck that would never win anyway. So
But
if
boy,
you see
did you-
neutral cards as a selection, you're like, well, I'm going to win this game
Yeah.
because my opponent has no spells in their deck and no class cards, and they just have all the terrible cards.
Good job countering Curious Glimmerroot. Bad
Yeah.
job playing Hearthstone.
Yeah, you really got me.
If that's really the way you're going, then
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That's fantastic. That has to be one of our triple-headed chickens, by the way. I think we have to do an all-neutral
Try
card.
to make it all neutral.
all neutral card
Try
deck
to
one of
win
these
with it.
days.
Oh
That'd
god.
be so good. Let's talk about Mirage Caller, the next priest minion. This is a 3-mana 2/3 with a battle cry that reads, choose a friendly minion, summon a 1/1 copy of it.
Yeah, so a little tiny Herald Village type effect. Although Herald Village was like every minion on the board at the time would get copied. This is choose one and do it, but much cheaper, so it can actually be played alongside. The problem with Herald Village was it was, 6 mana, so
Yeah.
you couldn't really combo it with anything that mattered, right? Where here you can like play a 7-cost card and immediately copy it if you want to. That being said, a lot of the cards that I look at as like would be perfect for this are going away and going into wild. So I feel like almost like this is a wild card, like just by default almost. It's like I'm thinking of cards I want to do this with. I'm like Thorasan would be sweet, Ragnaros, Sylvanas. Oh no, all these cards are going to wild. So we'll see like how many options you really have remaining, and if there are some really good ones, then yeah, this card will be pretty cool. So
Yeah.
we
yeah.
shall see.
No, yeah, it's a cool effect to have on an affordable minion. So anxious to see how
By the way,
this
the
plays out.
Death Rattle effect is play, so I don't think this is it play or summon.
I think it's
priest.
play.
Okay.
Oh, the priest
I
quest?
think. Yeah, the priest quest.
Oh man, I don't have this stuff memorized yet.
If it's summon, this will count towards it, but if it's play, this is not going to help you get there. So
It might, but it does mean you have to. The priest quest is 10 minions, right?
summon. Oh, the priest quest is
Because yeah, that was
not
going to be
10.
my
No,
point.
that's
I'm
the
pretty sure.
That's the Murloc one. The
The
one is-
Murloc one is 10. Okay.
priest one is, I believe, 6 or
Is
7.
summon. Okay.
It is summon. All right. Well, here you go. This is going to help you there. So, boom, goes into my at least
Zoth
goes into my
priest.
priest quest class thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's cool because you would have wanted to copy a Death Rattle minion anyway. So why not also
Well, exactly. Yeah.
play towards your
Totally.
quest?
Totally.
That's
Yeah.
value, man. That's value, son. All right, let's move
Yeah.
on to the rogue. We kind of talked about the quest, but that was on the Patreon Hangout. Let's talk about the quest here. The Caverns Below, the 1-mana rogue quest spell. I'm going to keep drilling that home. Play 4 minions with the same name. Reward, get the Crystal Core. What is the Crystal Core, you might ask? Because I just keep loving saying that. It's a 5-mana legendary spell that reads, for the rest of the game, your minions are 5/5. That's really cool. But hard
Yeah,
to pull
cool
off.
effect.
Difficult to pull off. Difficult-ish to pull off. Playing 4 minions
fun, though.
of the same name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the one. So Mike Dene said, like, don't even try to evaluate how good or bad this card is until you've played it, because it's so weird. And it is. It's super weird.
Super weird.
You have
It's
to.
very tricky, which is great
Yeah.
because it fits with Rogue really well.
You have to build a deck that doesn't have a lot of huge minions, because then you're like turning them backwards into 5/5s. So it's gonna have a lot of less than 5/5 minions in it, because then you're like getting all this value when you're playing the 5/5s. But you're also gonna have to get, like, you'll have 2-ofs. You're gonna have to bounce one of those 2-ofs twice. You have to figure out which minion it is at some point that you're doing it to, so you're not like wasting all the bounce effects on like multiple different minions. But sometimes a different minion will actually have like a bounce, like it'll work for that scenario where you'll want to bounce that minion. Like maybe you want to bounce an SI7 agent because you want to get that 2 damage again, but you're like, damn, I already bounced Swashbuckler like twice. I need to bounce Swashbuckler again. You know, it's going to make things very strange when you're trying to get this quest done. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to really have to pay attention. So I think this quest is probably the one that so far from what we've seen has like the highest like skill level requirement. Because I mean, let's be honest, if you're playing Shaman, play 10 Murlocs, like that's not that difficult. You just play your Murlocs.
No,
Versus this, like, you have to track what you've bounced, how many times. Well, obviously the quest will count how many times you've done it, but like you're gonna have to keep track of like what you're doing, and you're gonna have to make different decisions in each different game, because there's probably gonna be, you know, your game plan going in is maybe bounce SI because it has a great combo effect, but maybe next game I want to bounce something different. So I think this one's it's really cool design, I think.
Yeah,
I agree. Also, the Mimic Pod was shown as a rogue card, and the initial reactions I saw was like, oh, cool, this is how I complete Caverns Below. I disagree, and I'll tell you why. Mimic Pod is the 3-mana rare rogue spell, and it reads, draw a card, then add a copy of it to your hand. There's no guarantee that the card you're going to draw is going to be a minion.
Mm-hmm.
True.
It's the same. It's the same effect as Thistle Tea, right?
Yes.
But it's Thistle Tea Light, essentially.
Yeah.
But you'll also have, I think if you're trying to get this quest done, you'll probably only be running the core spells like Backstab, Eviscerate, and stuff like that. So you'll probably have a fairly minion-heavy deck. So I think if you're doing the quest and this is part of your objective to do the quest, you'll have a higher than normal chance to get a minion. So it will still kind of be one of your tools, I think. But you're right. I mean, absolutely, it doesn't guarantee doing a spell.
Also, hopefully
Gadgetzan Ferryman, though, will be a thing for decks that are trying to do this.
Which, when that came out, we were all like, WTF, why is this a card?
Sure. But actually, that card
know.
is totally fine in Arena. I played it in my, I got a 10 or 11 win rogue with it the other day, so it works. And I actually did bounce a couple times with it, too. So, But, so there's going to be some cool stuff here with this. Again, though, just to make sure people understand, the Caverns Below, you have to play these 4 minions. You can't just summon copies of them. So it's going to be tricky and potentially very, very powerful when it goes off.
Yeah,
but it has, I think, the lowest requirement of anything we've seen, right? You only have to do
only
it 4
4
times. Yeah.
But it's
Which
still
makes sense,
like
'cause it's the hardest to do.
playing
right?
10 Murlocs is probably a lot easier than playing 4 of the minions with the same name.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree 100%.
Yeah. What do you think of Mimic Pod, though? Because in the past, we've seen cards like Call Pet that just, they're terrible. You don't play them.
Well, Mimic Pod, Thistle Tea was bad just because you paid so much mana for
was
it.
expensive,
And then sometimes it just fizzled out, right? I think it's okay to essentially say this is pay 3 mana, draw 2 cards, right? Now, they're the same card, but in a way, it's like comparable to Arcane Intellect.
Yeah,
you're still at least getting 2 cards for 3 mana. And also, like, sometimes you're going to, like, swing and miss where you're going to get 2 cards that maybe aren't so great. But if your deck is full of good cards, you're going to get 2 good cards most of the time. So I think it's actually just a fine card on its own.
I like the idea of trying to find a place for this in a Miracle deck, too, right? Like, to go off with your Gadgetzan Auctioneer.
Sure. If you prep this out, I mean, it's really good.
Yeah,
right?
and God help your opponent if you get this on an Eviscerate. Suddenly...
Well, you prep this, and then you get Backstab, and you have a Gadgetzan on board, and you're like, Backstab, 2 more cards. Let's go. Like, it's... Sure.
Yeah. I mean, there needs to be something to Backstab, but yes.
Yeah. Well, worst case, you Backstab your own Gadgetzan. But, you know.
Come on, Garrett,
I think it's
rogue?
a fine card on its own. Outside of this quest
do
thing,
you,
we don't have to
rogue?
tie
Because
it.
you can't backstab your same Gadgetzan twice, noobs.
I know, but you can still do it once.
Do it once at least. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That was still that was good
card.
without Mimic Pod. It was my point. Mimic Pod didn't make that better.
Like Caverns Below doesn't make Mimic Pod good. Mimic Pod is just a fine card.
Yeah, exactly. So
Thistle Tea's bad. Mimic Pod good.
Willie Dills trying to coin a T-shirt. All right, moving on. Let's talk some Shaman cards. Their legendary minion has been shown. Kalamos, Kama Primal Lord. This is an 8-mana legendary 7/7 elemental with a battle cry that reads, if you played an elemental last turn, cast an elemental invocation. And I am going to admit that I completely forgot to make a graphic for those damn invocations. But they're nuts.
There's 3 or 4 of them, I think.
4 of them, and you get a
You get
choice
to
between
choose.
3.
Yeah.
I believe.
Which
so it works like Discovery. You get 3 out of the 4, and then you pick the one that you want.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty amazing. So there's like fill the board with 1/1s, which could turn this into essentially an Onyxia for like a slightly cheaper but also slightly less Onyxia. Oh, you choose from all 4. How is that possible? They don't, okay, whatever.
It has
Technology's there, I
been
guess.
confirmed that you choose from all four. So it's going to be the first time that we see, a discover-like mechanic that is showing us more than 3 cards.
And more than 3, yeah.
And,
okay, cool.
thank goodness someone on Google already did this for me. There we go. There we go. I think this is actually Blizzard. So, Invocation of Air, deal 3 damage to all minions. Invocation of Earth, which is adorable. Oh my god, look at those little boulders. Fill your board with 1/1 elementals that will melt your heart. Invocation of Water, restore 12 health to your hero. Invocation of Fire, deal 6 damage to the enemy hero. Because more burn is what Shaman needed. So yeah, this is a strong card. And elementals, it's looking like a successful new tribe to me.
They look pretty powerful in Shaman.
In Shaman, yeah. So again, another thing Shaman can just do.
We don't know what else they can do though after the swap. Shaman is was a big question mark because they
can still do Jades. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to
still
be different though.
Jades,
You're not
also be able to
playing.
do
You're not going to be
elementals.
playing mid-range Jade. You're going to have to get creative and do something that doesn't involve Tunnel Trog and Totem Golem.
Sure. Oh no, I'll just have to Jade Claws on turn 2.
Feels bad, man.
Yeah, but I mean, you are right. They're losing some very powerful stuff. But yeah, this is a really good card, by the way. This is very, very good card because of the fact that it's so. You can just find the thing you need for the certain situation, right? And if you're playing a lot of elementals, you're probably playing elementals most turns just anyway. And a lot of times your elementals are going to like feed into the next elemental, right? You're going to get a really powerful elemental turn that's going to make the next turn a really powerful elemental turn. So it daisy chains itself, right? It's like at some point you play a weak turn to start it, and then you just power through.
Then you just go with the elemental train. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, being able to like flame strike the board or put a bunch of 1/1s or just finish the opponent off or I'm low on health, I heal for 12, and play a 7/7, that's really good. So I think we're going to see this card a lot for sure.
Yep. Let's talk about another card I'm really excited about. Spirit Echo, a new 3-mana epic spell for Shamans, which reads, give your minions Death Rattle, return this to your hand.
Many
so why is this
Murlocs.
not a rogue card?
Yeah. Maybe because it'd be too powerful. Maybe you hope to get this off Swashbuckler.
Because Blizzard was like, you know what Shamans can't do? They can't bounce everything back to their hand, and Shamans need to be able to do everything.
I do not
give them.
Yeah. Okay. So
the big rogues do.
2 comments. 1, I have no idea why this is a Shaman card. 2, I know exactly why this isn't a rogue card, and that's because the Caverns Below is a thing, and this would make it really easy to complete that quest. But
maybe. I mean, you're only getting one copy
getting
of one minion.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is like the one more tool for that. It's very strange to me.
I think that the balance of the quest of the Caverns Below is a much thinner line than you're giving it credit for. There are already ways to play the same minion 4 times. There are already realistic ways to do that, and if you added this into the mix, it would, I think, make it the easiest to accomplish quest.
All
in the game.
ways that you're doing it are like tempo losses. You're like losing tempo on the way to doing it, right? And then, 4 is a low number, but you're losing the whole time. You're doing something that's anti-tempo, and then you might just be dead. So I don't know. All I'm saying is it's very weird. People are saying, it's like reincarnate, but no, that just comes back onto the board, right? So that is a thing that Shamans did historically have. They had ancestral spirit and reincarnate, sure. But now you've got this thing, which is it's a rogue thing that's suddenly in a Shaman deck. It's very weird to me. That's all.
I mean, it's not exclusively a rogue thing because of pandas. It's a neutral thing.
No. Rogues had the 4-mana 5/5 Death Rattle, return another minion to your hand. They have Gadget and Ferryman. They have Shadow Step. Rogues are the bounce class.
I'm not saying it's exclusively rogue though. I'm saying there are neutral ways to bounce minions back to your hand.
But it's like, what if they rogues just suddenly got a card with Overload? You'd be like, this is weird, right?
And if Shamans suddenly got a card with combo, I'd agree with everything you just said.
Okay, sure. It's a Shaman thing. Garrett's a Shaman thing. It's a Shaman thing.
Yeah. The focus on rogue, I think, is strange. I think overall, yes, I think this is weird. I don't think it's necessarily rogue only. But I don't know why. This is weird, right? This doesn't go with any of the Shaman things that we've seen so far, and I don't. They're like, oh crap, it needs to be Shaman. How do we make it Shaman, guys? I don't know. Let's make the illustration Murlocs.
Yeah, they're trying to say that shaman, like this is a way to do your shaman quest, right? Like you play a bunch of murlocs, you put this in, and you get all the murlocs back, and you play them again, and then shaman quest done. So if you were like saying that the reason why Rogue doesn't get this because Caverns Below would be too easy, this makes the shaman murloc quest incredibly simple.
Pretty easy, yeah.
Yeah, because you can just spam murlocs, and in the same turn, it's only 3 mana. Play a Spirit Echo. It's almost like you could say in some cases, Echo of Medivh, like immediately put the cards in your hand. But in a way, this is going to be guaranteed, and it's 1 mana cheaper. It's like almost better.
This is, I didn't even think about it.
It doesn't matter if you get them immediately necessarily. You oftentimes didn't, except if you made 0 mana giants. So I don't know. I think this is just a really good card for that specific type of deck. Everywhere else, I'm not so sure. Like, this might actually be a pretty good arena card too, just because it like just gives you gas, right? Like,
no, you're right. It does. It fills your tank, right?
Yeah, and a lot of times that's the problem in an arena is like if I play too fast, my opponent clears my board, then I lose. But here, I could just vomit my hand onto the board, play Spirit Echo, get it all back on the next turn.
Man, yeah. The more I think about this.
And we can actually talk about this in arena now because even though it's epic, we get so many more epics now.
Well, it's an epic and it's a spell, so it's double like
double
here
buff.
You go. Yeah, we're gonna see this all the time in arena.
Yeah, man. Yeah, why don't we have a dev on so we can just be like, hey, why the hell's this shaman?
So someone in chat just compared it to Blood Warriors. It's nowhere near Blood Warriors. You had to like AoE your board and stuff to do that.
Yeah, Blood Warriors.
You don't have to do anything.
Do you have dudes? Then now you're going to get more dudes.
Yeah, always ask yourself, what does this card ask of me? And Spirit Echo it asks you, play Hearthstone.
Yeah.
That's what it asks you.
Well,
minions?
Keep minions on board, yeah.
Which is playing Hearthstone, let's be honest.
The spell itself is cheap enough that you'll be able to play
there'll
minions
be,
and play spells.
There'll be turns where you might have double charging Murlocs in your hand. You'll be able to play them both, cast this, run them into things, get them back, and play them again.
Sure. You can also do things like play this and then Elemental Destruction your board and knowing that it's fine. Like, there might be turns where you need to do it, but you're like, well, I'm just going to hedge my bets here. Spirit Echo. And then I can AoE my board for 3 mana.
But get them all back again,
AoE their board and then play them all again that same turn. Like, there's going to be weird uses and applications for this card for sure.
Indeed. But it seems just kind of good. I think it's going to find a home. It might find multiple homes. But let's move on and talk some Warlock cards. Corrupting Mist is a new 2-mana rare spell for Warlocks that reads Corrupt every minion. Destroy them at the start of your next turn. So it works like Corrupt, but it corrupts every freaking minion, including your own if any happen to be in play. And only your own if any are in play and none for your opponent. Why would you do that?
Which would be a pretty silly time to corrupt.
Yes, it would. I don't know. Maybe you really need to draw a card off a Gadgetzan Auctioneer that you're for some reason playing on your Warlock deck.
I've heard some people compare this to like Doomsayer. And that's a fair kind of comparison. It's another like blow up the whole board next turn type of thing. But if you play Corrupting Mist, what Doomsayer does is it prevents them from playing stuff that turn, right? If they can't kill the Doomsayer. This, I mean, they'll be like, okay, all my existing minions are dead, but I can play more minions. So it's not like start the next turn with the clean board, which is what Doomsayer kind of does, right? And it gives you initiative. So it's like, it's a slightly less maybe good version of a Doomsayer, but if you're playing a control Warlock, it's like one more tool, right? Like one more AoE-ish type of tool. So I think it's an okay card. Hard to evaluate exactly until I mess around with it a little bit, but if I could do it for 1 mana on 1 minion, and then for 2 mana I could do it on like 4 minions, like it seems like value to me.
It is good. It's a good kind of stabilization card that could be slow. But say you're playing Reno and Wild in the Year of the Mammoth, you could probably easily find a spot for this and also survive the speed with which this deals with threats.
Yeah. The problem, though, the problem with this card is that if you play it and there's a bunch of minions, right, they're all going to, like, smash your face in, and you're going to take a bunch of damage. So it's not... Like, Doomsayer, at least at its worst, like 8 to 7 damage, or sometimes more, because you had to run like 9 or 10 damage into it, based on how the integers broke down.
Up, yeah.
So that kind of worked in that way, this, like, they're all going to be like, oh, we're going to die next turn. Okay, we all run into your face. But you can also, like, Corrupting Mist and then drop, like, a taunt or something, right? Like, you can do, there's stuff. That's why I feel like I need to play with this card before I really know how good it is.
Yep.
It's weird.
Well, if you're playing Warlock versus Warlock and you think to yourself, well, damn it, that Warlock Corrupting Misted my minion. What do I do with this thing? Well, this next card might help you because you can kill your own minion. Ravenous Pterodax is a new Warlock Beast. It's a 4/4 for 4 mana with a battle cry that reads destroy a friendly minion to adapt twice.
Seems really good in Wild with Imp Gang Boss. So play Imp Gang Boss on 3 and then run it into something, get a 1/1, and then adapt your Ravenous twice. Seems good, right?
Sure.
Yeah. I
feel like I have so many good ideas for Wild with all of these reveals, and I don't know if that's intentional or if I'm just for some reason don't want to give up like Blackrock Mountain and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're making any type of deck that spits out tokens, yeah, definitely could be good. I mean, obviously, I look at this card and I immediately think Dreadsteed. You know.
Oh yeah, that's another good one.
Like all over that, which is now also going to be a wild card. But yeah, and then maybe there's like a Death Rattle minion that you want to kill, and then you can kill it on purpose to do this. That could also happen too. In Wild, you could do like with Void Callers, right? So, or you know what else you could do? Power Overwhelming something in Wild, and then kill it with this card after you've attacked something for a bunch, and it's going to die anyway, right? So, there's definitely stuff here. Everything I've said seems like a Wild thing, though.
Yeah, so, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited for Paladin in Wild. I'm excited for
Yeah,
Ravenous things in Wild.
Yeah.
WTF.
I will point out one thing that's interesting about, and we're seeing it in a bunch of classes, there are beasts now that are like in classes that never had them, which makes Curator suddenly a better card. So,
yeah, actually, that's a really good point.
This is the second Warlock Beast, right?
Yeah. And maybe you'll see Menagerie stuff and other things. I don't know.
They gave up on Beast Druid, and now they're just Beast for everyone.
Yeah, Beast everything now. Druids weren't working. Beast everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of Curator decks now across the board. I didn't even think of that. That's great.
On this card, I'll say I have nothing. Nothing interests me in Standard as we know it. Cool wild card, cool arena card.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's 4/4 for 4, and if one of your other minions has already. It's damaged. It's already gotten you some value. Destroy that sucker and add some value to your Pterodax. Yep.
At worst, it's a 4/4 for 4. And then at best, it kills something that maybe you already got value out of, and you get a 7/7 for 4. Yeah. 4 mana 7/7. Here we go.
Yep. Let's do it. Well, let's move to Warriors, who apparently will be inciting some circle pits because their legendary minion is named King Mosh. This is a 9/7 for 9 mana. Legendary Warrior Beast with a battle cry that reads destroy all damaged minions.
Execute everything.
Turn 10, Whirlwind, King Mosh, clear board.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Also, I mean, develop a 9/7 at the same time, like as you're killing a bunch of stuff. I mean, could be pretty cool. Could be very cool.
It's a roundabout
where if Control Warrior has to kind of make a comeback for this, I think, to see a lot of play. But if Control Warrior does make a comeback, this is a pretty nice new tool for them. So.
Yes. Yeah, I'm with you there. I just want to play a T-Rex, and I think Control Warrior is possible to make that happen. So let's bring it on.
The other thing too is again, I look at Wild when I see this card, and I think if I've got my Death Bite out at any point, I can just towards the late game.
Right. The Death Bite value. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so it's only gonna work because it's so slow, 9 mana, but a very powerful effect. It's only gonna work if Control Warrior becomes a thing again. This is not gonna be like a Tempo Warrior card, or Pirates aren't playing King Mosh. So
no, this has a very specific home. Let's talk about a card that doesn't have a specific home and is just weird. Molten Blade, a new warrior weapon. It's 1 attack, 1 durability for 1 mana. And it reads, each turn this is in your hand, transform it into a new weapon. So,
it's the Shifter Xeris of weapons.
You're damn right it is.
Although,
I wish he was wielding it in the art.
There's a lot of bad minions. There's not a lot of bad weapons. right?
No.
There's like one bad weapon.
Yeah,
So
there's
this is better.
it just warrior weapons or is it any weapon?
It's weapons, yeah.
Yeah.
So like Shifter's Eris was bad because it would sometimes just be this terrible minion. You're like, damn it. And sometimes it was a really good minion.
But you didn't have the mana
to play it yet or something. And you're like, no.
It's like it turns into Tyrion on turn 2 and you're like, oh.
Yeah. It's going to be really hard to find a bad weapon.
Yeah.
Like it's generally going to be something useful whenever you decide you need a weapon. Like it'll be. So it's just more weapons. If you want weapons, here's more of them. And weapons are good. This is a great arena card, by the way. I love this arena card. So.
And if it's
and Curse Blade is rotating out. That's right. So if you're in standard, you won't even ever get that as an option.
Oh shoot, you're right. Oh man, yeah. Well, this is better. I didn't think about that. This is better than I thought.
Yeah. Someone in chat said Light Justice is bad. No, it's not. Light Justice is good.
It's fine.
1 mana, 4 pings. That's a great card. So yeah, it's gonna be very hard for this to not be good. I don't know. This looks good.
Yep. All right, let's try and wrap this up in under 3 hours and move on to neutral cards. As we lead the charge with the biggest WTF of the day, Hemet Jungle Hunter, a 6/6 legendary minion for 6 mana with a battle cry that reads: destroy all cards in your deck that cost 3 mana or less.
This card has gotten a lot of buzz, and everyone thinks they're really smart, and they're like, I know what to do with this card. I'm gonna make this combo deck, and sure. Maybe that works, but maybe it doesn't. And I don't like I saw these things about you play it in like a control deck or whatever, where at some point you just want to get rid of all your bad cards in your deck and only draw really good cards at that point. But I'm like, man, you want to get rid of Hex? Like you want to get rid of? I don't think you do. Like I think you don't. There's a lot of really good cards that you'll have that are 3 or less that are control cards. Like you want to dump your Execute? You want to dump your Shield Slam? You want to? No, I don't think you do. So. I'm sure there's a very specific use for this card, which will be like a fun, cool deck, but I don't think it's like a meta deck that's going to happen out of this.
No, this is the kind of card that makes me excited for Wild for years to come. Like, who knows what bizarre turn 7 combos will be possible thanks to Hemet Jungle Hunter.
Yeah, there's all sorts of fun things you can think of with this card, where it's like I play a bunch of stuff to kind of get me there, and then at some point I throw all of it away, and I know I'm guaranteed to draw, these specific cards. And I have a very cool thing. Like a lot of people said, Holy Wrath Mountain Giant, right? Like the problem is like you could draw those before you draw Hemet. There's weird things that can happen, obviously. So none of these decks are a guarantee, but still, to me, this is like a super fun card that I will toy with endlessly, and yeah, it'll be very fun.
Yeah, I feel like this is the card that you kind of hang on to until like the very end when you're in kind of a control matchup and you don't want to draw something like Acolyte of Pain, right? Like, but then at the same time, that's putting one less card in your deck, so it's moving you closer to fatigue.
To fatigue in a control matchup.
Control match, yeah.
I think you always want this in a combo deck. I think you have to have some specific set of cards you're looking for. And this gets rid of everything that's not that. Right?
Yeah, because you do generally have a lot when you're playing in a combo deck. You do generally have a lot of low-cost cards that are meant to get you to your combo through the early game. They draw, or they are like Living Roots, like little removals that work well in the beginning. But if you draw Living Roots on turn 9 or 10 when you're going for Aviana and Kuhn, you're just like, dang it, this doesn't help me with anything. So I can see trying to get rid of some of those things to kind of thin out your deck and make your draw better. But yeah, I don't know how well this is going to work. You have to be very, very careful with when you play it, and you have to weigh the kind of pros and cons of destroying some of your tools. But if they're tools you don't need anymore, then it's pretty okay.
Yeah, like a lot of people look at it and they think like, shouldn't this be like overstated for its cost because it's doing something bad to my deck? But no, it's like doing something very specific to your deck. Yes. And you have to build around that. But again, that thing, this is like Astral Communion almost to me. It's like when it works, it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of times it's not going to work. And you're going to be like, damn it, I can't win this game because things got funky. I drew in the wrong order or whatever.
Yeah. So. I don't know if the drawback is quite as bad as Astral Communion, though. I don't know. But you're right. When this works, it's going to be like.
Well, the drawback to Astral Communion is not drawing it on like the early game, right? Like that's the real like dumping your hand is whatever because you just play all these big ass dudes after that. But like the drawback to this is like I don't draw it. I'm specifically building my deck around this, and I never get it. And then I just got all these crappy 3-cost cards I'm playing because I'm trying to get rid of them to get to this. Like there's going to be some weird stuff with this. So.
Yeah. No, I agree. This is a very curious card that at the moment I can't think of what to do with him other than on turn 6 do nothing.
Sure.
So. Let's talk about Blaze Caller, a new neutral elemental coming as 6 attack, 6 health, will cost you 7 mana to deploy. Epic rarity for your arena players, and a battle cry that reads: if you played an elemental last turn, deal 5 damage. That's
okay.
A lot of damage.
I'll play this into my Calamos, right? So I'll play some 6-cost elemental or whatever, and then on 7 I'm going to play super fire elemental essentially. Well, okay, on turn 6 I'll play fire elemental.
Fire elemental,
Yeah.
and then Blaze
And then
Caller,
on turn 7 I'll play
yeah.
even better fire elemental.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good card.
Yeah.
Pretty good card.
It's solid elemental, doing what elementals do.
This card, I mean, there's not really much to say. It's just like if you're an elemental deck, you're playing this card, right?
Most likely.
I'm a little concerned about elementals in Arena because you're going to get teased like with dragons right now. Where you're like, I got 3 dragons. I better start picking dragons now. And then
I think you only consider it in
out for
Arena if you're playing Shaman. Because you have the added chance thanks to the class that you are.
That's true, yeah. Shaman and, what is it, Mage are the 2 kind of elemental classes.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot. Mages. We still haven't seen that many mage cards. It's only the one.
We haven't, and we don't know the quest either.
Spell,
Although the quest,
right?
I think they've already confirmed no quests are going to be about elementals.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they confirmed. I think you are right. I think they did confirm that as well. But I think we've only seen one mage card that has anything to do with an elemental so far. But that does make me think that there are more coming.
That's the legendary, yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe mage as well, or maybe not because mage is already good in Arena and they'll probably just be fine no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Gluttonous Ooze is next. Hey, do you like oozes? Do you want a slightly beefier ooze, I guess? I don't know. It's a 3/3 for 3 ooze. Epic rarity with a battle cry that reads: destroy your opponent's weapon and gain armor equal to its attack.
All right. So
I
this is like the anti-pirate warrior card that I wanted, not the stupid crab.
Cool. I was going to ask how this makes you feel in a world with dumb crab.
Yeah, this card is pretty sweet. I think it's gonna be a very good arena card. Already right now the 4/3 ooze that gets rid of only 1 durability is picked quite often. This card is even better because you're not only killing the full weapon, you're turning around and gaining like life at the same time. So very cool card. I like this a lot.
Yeah, what I like about this card is it's basically like a heal, because if you think like even if you're getting rid of like 1 durability off of a weapon that's been buffed up to 3, 4, 5 attack in a pirate warrior, not only are you taking away that 3, 4, or 5 attack from damage on your face, but you're also healing for that same amount. So it's like
double heal.
It's like double heal, and because it's not worded as a heal, because it's armor, it means that even if it is very early in the game and you're down to say 26 health, like you're guaranteed to get that heal, right? Because it's going to go on top of your existing health total.
Not going to get capped at 30.
You're not going to get capped at 30. So I think that this card is great.
It is, and it's worse. It's a 3/3 mana 3/3, and we've already seen like there's a lot of cards where people are like, okay, it's got a great upside. Its downside is just that it's a 3 mana 3/3, and they're still played, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I think it goes into. We might see like if there's one of style decks still around, Reno style decks, but no longer Reno. You'll use this instead of the old school acidic Swamp Ooze, right? Because the reason you saw Swamp Ooze over Harrison was it could be fit into turns with other stuff. This still can.
Yeah.
So for 1 more mana, slightly better body and slightly better upside.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Volcanosaur is next. This is the card we will all be getting April 5th. A golden version of, by the way, that I might say is very pretty. Mm-hmm. Pretty damn card. So Volcanosaur is a 7 mana, 5 attack, 6 health beast with battle cry adapt, then adapt.
Yep. So
why doesn't this just say adapt twice?
Yeah, so why doesn't it just say adapt twice? Yeah. Because
I heard them
like,
talk about it, and they
paladin
just
is adapt 5 times, right? So
yeah, but I think I heard them talk about this when they just said it sounded cooler when they just said it out loud. Adapt and adapt sounded better than saying adapt twice. But if you said adapt and adapt and adapt and adapt and adapt, like that's ridiculous. So.
That's when a word stops to lose meaning when you hear it too many times.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of people are predicting this to be a bad card. Again, I think we have to play with adapt before we really know. It might be great. It might be terrible. This card is just kind of there right now. But one cool thing, I think, if you play it with Bran in Wild, you'll get to adapt, then adapt, then adapt, then adapt again. Adapt. So yeah, you get to adapt 4 times with it.
That's a good
Could
point.
be really cool.
That would be cool. But yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. Wait and see.
Plus, everyone gets one for free, so
it'll be out there. Yeah, if you're playing low ranks, you're going to see Volcanosaur all the time.
Yeah.
Yep. Servant of Kalamos is our next neutral card, which is also an elemental. This is a 4/5 for 5 mana elemental minion with a battle card that reads, if you played an elemental last turn, discover an elemental.
This is going to be definitely a good card in elemental decks because it's kind of bridging the gap between the early elemental stuff and then making sure that you need kind of an elemental at almost every mana cost, right? And they're going to need to kind of curve out. So this card will be there because it'll help you curve out.
Yeah.
Plus, you'll be able to discover like a specific mana costed elemental to be able to play like the next turn to bridge you to the next one. And so, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I think it's going to be a good card.
Servant into Fire Elemental into what was the other one? The Blaze Caller into your legendary Shaman Elemental.
Yeah, and actually, with that in mind, I'm not sure how much I dig Servants. I mean, I guess you could discover a Fire Elemental, right? Because I could just put a Fire Elemental in my deck, but I'm not guaranteed it's going to be there. So maybe I play Servant, and you're right. There's a lot of
helps you keep the train going.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, like that. It's really important to never miss an Elemental drop, right? So this is a card that'll help you smooth that out quite a bit.
Yeah, the problem is this is a pretty weak turn 5. You're dropping a 4/5.
On its you'll have but you'll probably gain so much tempo with whatever you do the next turn because you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like elementals are going to kind of like have ebb and flow, I think, where like you'll have a weak turn here to discover an elemental, but then all of a sudden you're like, boom, I'm blowing up your stuff, right?
And there's tons and tons and tons of decks that play Azure Drake, right? Which is a 5-mana 4/4. So I don't see any problem with a 5-mana 4/5 when you're getting a card.
That's a very good point. Yeah. Although you don't necessarily always drop Azure Drake on 5, you sometimes combo it with a spell. But no, that's a good point. Actually, a very good point. With Azure Drake going away in Standard, there'll be room for a card.
It was so powerful that they rotated it out of Standard, right?
Yep.
So
no, it's a very good
I think
point.
this is a powerful card.
Tolvir Stone Shaper. Apparently the Tolvir just like grinning, man. They're happy about something. This is a 3/5 for 4 rare minion that has a battle cry that reads, if you played an elemental last turn, gain taunt and divine shield. So here's a non-elemental that is reaping the benefits of playing an elemental the previous turn.
But it's also screwing up your elemental curve.
It is.
So you play this on 4 after an elemental on 3, and then you don't get your elemental buff on 5. So, not sure about this one yet.
I think we have to sit down and figure out how many 4-drops there are that are elementals.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see like when you're building when the set is fully released and you're building elemental decks. Like you're gonna have to look at that curve and be like, can I get away with missing my elemental drop because I get a really powerful 4-drop in exchange for that? Like this is a kind of a dependent card. This is a wait and see card for me as well. Yeah. Wait and see card for sure. But a 3/5 taunt with divine shield on 4 is going to put a stop to most things.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I feel like it's probably just going to be situational, right? Like you might put this in your deck and just hope to get something different, so I can break my elemental curve if I think I'm not going to make it that far because I'm playing against a super aggressive deck. Then okay, I play Stone Shaper instead of something else on turn 4. But yeah, I think like maybe even just a one of like kind of like a tech card. If you're seeing a lot of aggro, then maybe you put this in to stem that tide a little bit. But it definitely has to be worth breaking your elemental train to play this. Like there has to be a really strong reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe a tournament card instead of a ladder card.
Maybe. Maybe I'm not sure. Also, maybe it fits. On non turn 4, you fit it in with the low cost elemental, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, true.
You consider its value in that regard as well. But I don't know. This is definitely a head scratcher. While we're talking about minions that are not elementals benefiting from elementals, let's wrap this up with Thunder Lizard, the last card we're going to talk about today. This is a 3/3 for 3 common beast with a battle cry that reads, if you played an elemental last turn, adapt. So again, not an elemental itself, breaks your elemental chain, but does benefit from an elemental being played on the previous turn.
I don't think this card goes into your elemental deck personally, but again, don't know. Don't know until we see it. This is one of those cards I just can't really evaluate until we see exactly how you want to curve with elementals. But you're also again missing out on keeping that elemental train going. So this is potentially a problem.
This is one of the cards that I'd kind of like it. I'd like to see more with Arena being standard now, right? Because this gives you potential value on 2 different lines. One on if you pick up some elementals during your draft, or if you pick up some beast energy during your draft. Because at the end of the day, it's a 3/3 for 3. You'll see worse cards to grab, so you might end up with a Thunder Lizard in your arena deck. But if you come across beast energy or an elemental, then it's like, oh, cool, I have a Thunder Lizard in here.
Bonus.
Yeah, but it's just there's so many weird things going on with this card that it's like I'm just gonna have to see it in action before I can really say whether this is good or bad.
No, you're absolutely right.
Because beast tag on top of elemental stuff, on top of adapt, we don't know how good that is. Like there's just all kinds of weird stuff going on.
Yeah, it's like the everything in one card.
Yeah. I think adapt is going to be.
All of these things have been are all unproven at this point. So
I think adapt is going to be solid. Like that's what I'm, like earlier when I don't even remember what card we were talking about, but it was like, leaning towards this is probably crap. Like I'm leaning towards adapt is probably going to be good. Whether one adapt on a 3/3 is good, I don't know about that.
A 3/3 for 3 with Divine Shield would be very good. A 4/4 for 3 would be good. There's lots of options that would be good. A 6/3 for 3, sure. Most of the things would be fine. A 3/3 with stealth, all these things would be fine. So but again, it's like you have to play an elemental first, and then you're not playing. Elemental
so it's situational adapt. So is situational adapt as good as just if it straight up said battle cry adapt?
And you can't play Thunder Lizard into Tol'vir Stone Shaper.
Yes, exactly.
And get the effect from both of these things, right?
Yeah.
So, and that looks like the logical train of things. And then you'd screw up Servant of Kalamos if that's the next one, right? So it's like there's it doesn't really get dropped on 3 very often. I think it more often gets dropped somewhere else. I don't know.
And then if it gets dropped later in the game, then is it still good to have a stealth 3/3?
Can we get elemental Tiny Fin, and then we could just fit elementals in with
0 cost 1/1 elemental. Yeah,
a little
maybe.
0/1/1
Yeah.
elemental guy.
Oh yeah.
Then Blizzard would just make a video of murdering it senselessly.
Just a little tiny elemental with a little tiny sword. Just
Those little boulder elementals, man. Just give me one of those as something I can put in my deck. Those guys are cute.
You can't do this on 3. You need to fit because that's why the 0/1/1 would be the thing.
Yeah. But
the fact that it affects the next turn is so important and so new that we have to see it play out. Because missing curves and stuff like that can be pretty bad. Or having a card that you just can't get the effect that makes it a good card from can be really bad. So
suddenly everyone's a shaman, having to think about next turn. Although you'll probably at the end of the day already be a shaman when you're playing elementals. If I had to venture,
are you playing Hearthstone? You're probably a shaman.
I wasn't going that far. If you were playing elementals, I think you're gonna be a shaman. But all right, fine, Dills. Yeah, you little Reddit poker, you. All right, well,
are we done?
It's 2 hours and 18 minutes. I'm seeing on the
outside.
record. I gotta have dinner. This is ridiculous. My God, what a long episode. So no emails, no crazy game stories for obvious reasons. We are going to thank our patrons, though. Thank you, as always, patrons, for supporting our podcast. If you enjoy The Angry Chicken, if you want to support us, the best way to do so is patreon.com/TAC. My voice is fading fast. Thank you this week to Sean G, Mr. Black, Todd J, Richard S, Rich M, Daniel C, I didn't say the full last name, so you can just assume Daniel Craig supports the Angry Chicken, so why wouldn't you? Eric Y. and Robert L., thank you all so much for supporting our show. Also, thank you to our producers, Declan H., Peter Williams, and LVE. If you would like some Angry Chicken swag, we have some you can go and purchase. You can get the Angry Chicken t-shirt or the Job's Done t-shirt over at shirts.amove.tv, or you can get some Angry Chicken logos and whatnot on your custom etched glassware, which you can find at etched.amove.tv. Our Twitter is at TAC Podcast, and you can usually catch us live Tuesday nights at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We did it on Wednesday this week because I was traveling. Other than all that jazz, Dills, where can folks find your work?
At Twitter, or on Twitter, at Willie Dills, on Twitch, twitch.tv/Willie Dills. Check it out.
I almost ended on your. Where can people find your? And that's why I was like, work.
Also, I will be in Orlando this coming weekend for WrestleMania.
This weekend?
So,
oh, snap.
yeah.
What?
So you got to drive up on like the Friday or something and
Are you
come
getting in Friday?
Super Card of Honor or something like that.
Are you coming in on Friday?
Yeah, coming in on Friday.
And it's Sundays, right? So
Sunday is WrestleMania, but Saturday is Super Card of Honor, which is the Ring of Honor thing, and there's going to be Dalton Castle, my favorite wrestler, will be in the main event of that. So
okay,
and I think we already have tickets for it. I think we might have an extra one, so you should come.
Okay, I will poke you after the show. Joss, where can folks find you when the other two jackholes on your show aren't like trying to plan a hangout in the middle of a podcast?
Hi, you can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joss Plays. You can also find me right here on twitch.tv/AMoveTV every Wednesday night for the Gamers In, except I knew this was going to run long, so we're doing Gamers In tomorrow. So come and hang out with us on Thursday. Yeah.
Oh, God.
I saw all the cards, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to want to turn this off and do a podcast right after.
Oh, well, that was very smart of you. Gamers In has been on fire lately, and that's because, video games are on fire lately.
We have had a lot to play and a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
100% in Horizon Zero Dawn, by the way. Freaking love that game.
Yo, but you
My first ever PlayStation Platinum trophy.
haven't even purchased it yet because Zelda. Thank you, Zelda. Folks, you can find me on Twitter at Garrett Art. You can find every other podcast I do at amove.tv. Might I recommend Into the Nexus, because holy shit, there's so much Heroes stuff to talk about. And we have Jeff Kanata coming on tomorrow night. So I'm going to pimp that and only that this week, because you should tune in. It's going to be a big show. We got Jeff on. Going to be a good time. And no, we're not just going to sit there and talk about how cool it was that we got to go to the summit. We're not going to do that. We're going to talk about the game. So tune in for that. That's going to do it for this episode of The Angry Chicken. Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the extremely long show. Until next time, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yeah! Woo!
Finally!
Yeah!